And we are live. Welcome to the Whatever Dating Talk podcast, coming to you live from Isla Vista, Santa Barbara County, California, every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific. I'm your host, Brian Atlas. I'm joined by my co-host, Kiki. She's a bit shy. A few quick announcements before the show begins. This channel is viewer supported, so please consider sending a super chat. I will read, answer super chats $10 and up. All super chats will be displayed in stream overlay. We've got channel memberships, Patreon merch, all links in the description. We stream to Twitch, twitch.tv/whatever. Drop us a follow /prime sub. If you want to be on the show or help with the show, DM @whatever on Instagram. Without further ado, we're going to have the guests introduce themselves, so please tell us your name, age, occupation, and or school major.
My name is Hannah. I'm a student at UCSB. I'm 19, and I work on campus.
Major?
Psych.
Hi, I'm Lauren. I'm 20. I'm a biopsych major at UCSB, and I'm currently a scribe for Santa Barbara Cottage, and yeah.
I'm Jackie. I'm 20. I'm a communications and global studies double major, and I work at the recreational center, so it's basically UCSB's gym, and I love my job, so shout out everyone that works there.
Hi guys, my name is also Hannah. I'm a student at UCSB. I'm 19, and my major is econ and accounting.
Hi, my name is Jessica. I also go to the University of California, Santa Barbara. I'm 20, and my major is economics and accounting.
My name's Tanner. I'm 26. Full-time, I do executive protection. Part-time, I'm an infantryman in the Army National Guard and own, as a side gig, my firearms training company. And I go to school part-time online, and I'm majoring in just general education.
All right. What's up, guys? My name's Chase. I'm 27 years old. I'm a professional photographer and brand consultant, and I'm done with school.
It's been nice.
Nice. Okay. We're going to go around again really quick. Current relationship status and longest relationship you've ever been in, if you've had one.
I'm currently in a relationship, and I think my longest relationship was like a year or two, something like that.
Is it your current one?
No.
Okay.
Hi, I'm in a relationship, and my longest one is probably my current one, and it's been since February 2021, I would say. So
over a year?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm currently single, but my longest relationship is, I think, a year and 3 months, something like that. Yeah, year and 3 months.
Okay, mine's not as long as that. I'm currently single. My longest relationship, I want to say around 4 or 5 months, something like that.
Also currently single. Let's go Hot Girl Summer. Longest relationship was a year, a year and 2 months.
I'm in a relationship. My longest has been 2 years.
I'm single, and my longest relationship has been a year and a half.
Okay.
What about you, Brian?
Oh, yeah, I suppose I should answer.
Yeah.
Currently single, longest relationship was 5 years.
Whoa.
Not a marriage, though. There was no kids or marriage or anything. Okay, so just quickly, a show of hands. Which one? It's you three that are single, right? And then Chase, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So 4, yeah.
Got it. So y'all said you were single. How long have you been single?
Oh my gosh. I think I've been single for a year. It feels like 2 years. I'm going to say 2 years, but maybe a year and 9 months, something like that, but a while. Yeah.
Let me see. I had like a fling or single from a relationship.
I'm going to re-ask the question a bit differently.
Okay.
When's the last time you've hooked up with someone?
Oh. Gosh, well, that's direct. Okay. Maybe 3 weeks ago, something like that. So kind of recent. 3 weeks.
Maybe 3 weeks.
Maybe 3 weeks. I mean, I haven't counted.
3 weeks,
maybe
but I
9
would
days.
say maybe 3. You'll never know. Let's go with 3 weeks.
Okay, so how long have you been single, and when was your most recent hookup?
Let me see. Okay. I've been single for, I think, 6 months now, and my most recent hookup was, I would say, 4 weeks ago. Yeah, 4 weeks ago. Yeah.
Last month was officially 1 year since I've been single. My last hookup was 4 days ago.
Oh,
So you're keeping track of your, like, the breakup anniversary?
No, Snapchat memories.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
I see. Chase?
Yeah, I've been single for 2 years, a little over 2 years, and I have not done anything with a woman in the past 2 years.
Can you want to go into that a little bit? Just clarify. We got some new viewers.
Yeah,
so
we
they
do.
Don't know.
We do. So for you guys and everybody else, I'm a Christian and I'm saving myself for my future wife. So.
Aw,
Yeah.
that's nice.
But you weren't always that way.
I was not always that way. Absolutely not.
Did you have a phase?
Yeah, I had a few phases.
Okay.
My teenage years were I was an active boy and in college and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Any other questions, Brian?
Are any of you saving yourself for marriage?
No, Brian.
No,
Brian.
We're active
No.
college girls at UCSB. No.
Wait, all of you go to UCSB?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quick question on that. So, do you look down upon men who go to SBCC?
That's a yes.
That's a good.
No.
No, it depends on the circumstance.
Hannah, why?
Did she say yes?
Yeah, we'll go
I did
around.
say
We'll go
yes.
around.
I did 1 semester there.
I've only
You're
ever
like,
had
be
weird
careful.
interactions with them. Like, it's always been a little weird from what I've noticed. Like, every time somebody's from SBCC that I've interacted with at least is weird.
You're not the first girl to say that. I've heard a number of UCSB girls say that.
Your take?
I've always had good experiences. I mean, I don't know. I feel like the only time I've like talked to people who go to SBCC, they've been at like Trader Joe's, and the the Trader Joe's workers are always like really cool. So like, I don't know. I have nothing bad to say about them.
I'm going to agree with Hannah on this one. The few interactions that I've had with SBCC students, they've been a little bit weird. Okay, I don't want to be like mean. Is this mean to say? I just feel like, I don't know, they're just like UCSB like wannabes. Like, that's like mean, but like, I don't know. They've just been weird. They've been odd, in my opinion.
I don't know if like I would say like UCSB wannabes. Like, I kind of think like SBCC students kind of like really good. You know, they go to like community college at like a really amazing place, and they get to like live in IV, which is like a college town. You know, like when I came to UCSB, all of the older students went and told me, they said that they kind of like come over here and don't respect, you know, IV as much as UCSB students, because they're not kind of like from here. They don't like go to school here. So like coming to UCSB, I came with like that perception. I've definitely had like, you know, both iffy and also like positive experience of SBCC students. But like, I feel like that's just with anyone. But coming in, like there is a negative stereotype of people from SBCC, unfortunately. Sorry.
I actually know a lot of guys from SBCC, and I feel like for me, the reason why like they're looked down upon is because a lot of the time with the people that I've met, they'll come to SBCC just to party. And like to me, and me personally, that's like, I mean, we all go to UCSB to party, like we all party, but that's just from the people that I've met. That's the reason why they're here. But I actually know a really good group of guys from SBCC. They're smart. I mean, they like to have fun. But in terms of starting a relationship with someone, if they're here just to party, then that's kind of a red flag in my eyes.
Can I say something on that?
Of course. Go ahead, Chase.
So I went to Santa Barbara City College for a couple years before I transferred.
Oh,
to
no.
I don't take
Chase, I apologize.
You're fine. I don't take anything you said to offense. It's fine.
Okay.
I went there for like 2 years before I transferred to a photography school. And like my roommates and I, we were like very on top of our studies. Like I really wanted to transfer to UCSB at first. But I lived at a dorm complex here in IV called Tropicana Gardens.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
We know
guys
that.
are familiar. And like my observation was like probably 65 to 70% of the dudes that were there like were only here to party the majority of them failed like most of their classes their freshman year, and then like didn't go back a second year. So you're probably meeting a bunch of boys like that.
Imagine going to a community college and failing out.
I know, dude. I know.
I have a quick question on that. Was that like the people who like failed and stuff? Were they like from Santa Barbara Community College, or like was the majority from there, like UCSB students?
All from SBCC.
SBCC.
All of them were.
So
SBCC.
like kind of like what Jess was saying, her perception was like a little bit right, like correct, like that.
Yeah,
Majority of people come here to party because it's Ivy.
Yeah, 100%. A
Okay.
lot of people came here just to party and like didn't pay attention to their classes at all, and then like had to leave because they didn't pass their classes.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
That's like a lot of kids at City College.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really is.
So I want to ask, because UCSB, Isla Vista, it's very much a party school. Do you think that there's a hookup culture in this
brag.
area?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty bad. There's a lot of like, it's just so normalized. Everybody thinks that it's normal, and so everybody does it. So.
Yeah, I agree. There's like a huge hookup culture here. There's no denying it.
And like thoughts on hookup culture. Is it a good thing? Should people just be free to do whatever they want? Do you think it's maybe bad that people are deprioritizing long-term serious relationships? What are your thoughts? And I don't know if you want to come back on this, or you kind of got your...
I mean, I think that it's damaging for people's like mental. I don't think that hookup culture is necessarily a good thing. I think that it's not good for men or women. Like, it's bad on both parties.
Oh, is it my turn?
Or did you want to come in? I thought you kind of got your piece, but...
I don't know. I've never participated in it because I've been pretty much dating someone the whole time I've been in Ivy. But I think it's like all right as long as like both people agree like that's what they want.
I feel like coming into UCSB like as a freshman, it's like really fun because like that's what like everyone's like, oh, like college experience, like hookups, like it's fun at first, but then it just kind of gets old because I feel like people just don't get out of that, and like people just don't. It just seems, at least at UCSB or in Isla Vista, like relationships are not really a thing here, at least from what I've seen. So I personally do not like it, and I am kind of done participating in it. But that's just my opinion. UCSB is heavily hookup culture. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like on that, I feel like what ends up happening is that I think like maybe for both like girls and I can't comment on guys, but like for girls too, you go in and you think that you know UCSB is like a big hookup culture, so then you're not really sure like if you get involved with someone what they think, so then you get a lot of more like situationships or something like that, and it becomes like very confusing. And if it's like mutual, it's fine, but going and finding out like what the other person wants, like it can be a very, very confusing area. And like, you know, kind of like you were commenting on, like it's definitely like can be fun at first, but I feel like that's kind of like, you know, the parties at UCSB, like you go to frat parties and it's fun at first, and then eventually it's just like, oh, this is like not really fulfilling. And I definitely think that you have that at UCSB, where eventually it's just not as fulfilling as like a relationship would be.
I think with hookup culture, what people don't realize is Ivy is small, and 99% of the time, if you're hooking up with someone, they have hooked up with one of your friends. And I agree with all these girls. I think hookup culture is fun and fresh for a good time, but it definitely gets old. And I don't know, it really depends on communication and what you want and what you get out of it, because no one has to participate in hookup culture. But it gets a little tiring at first, and yeah.
Tanner, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, hookup culture is definitely alive and well in Santa Barbara. And then, you know, it's kind of like dating here. It's most like, you know, Isla Vista women and, you know, UCSB women and whatnot. And it's, you know, I've had my share of it, and it's, for sure there's nothing casual about casual sex. Like, it definitely takes a little part of your soul every time you do it. It's, a lot of people think it's like liberating and fun and everything, but just like having some like, I don't know, like 22-year-old like senior frat dude that's just like a douchebag fucking like rail you out, like you're not going to get anything from that. Like it's awful, and it's going to take some of your soul every time you do it. So
it's a good point. Yeah, I didn't become a Christian until my sophomore year of college. So when I went into college as a freshman, I was like very excited to play the field, so to speak. And I realized by the end of my freshman year, like hookup culture is very like empty. At the end of my freshman year, I fell like madly in love with a girl, and we had like a very deep relationship, and we ended up breaking up later that summer after the freshman year because she had to move back home to another country. And when I got back to my sophomore year here, like I had like no interest in hookup culture at all. Like once you've had something really deep that's like really meaningful, like casually hooking up with someone, I don't know, to me, like it's not interesting, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I think it is, you know, I talked about this in the last podcast. I think it is damaging for people. Like people get really hurt very easily, you know,
Yeah.
like kind of what you were talking about with like situationships. Like, I don't know, I've just seen a lot of people get hurt and that's a bummer, you know?
Yeah.
What do you think, Brian?
Well, I'm going to share my thoughts a little bit on this a bit after I get through a couple questions, but overall, I would say I don't think hookup culture is a good thing. I think people should be free to do whatever they want, but I don't know. I don't think it's good. The nuclear family. Okay, so
Amen.
Base.
Super base. Saving the West.
One meme at a time.
Yes.
There you go.
Keep
There you
those
go.
red pills coming, lads.
So, what is, sort of on the topic of hookup culture, what is a fuck boy? I want you guys to define it for me because there's different definitions. So go ahead.
Me first. Oh my god, I feel like Jackie would have a really good definition.
Oh,
for
thank
this
you.
one.
Thanks.
Okay, why don't we
Thanks.
do this? Jackie, you come on in and then we'll...
Sounds good. I would say a fuckboy would be someone that doesn't really have any regard towards the person that they're, I guess you could say, like fucking with, I guess. Like they just don't really have regards towards how the other person is feeling, and they're just kind of in it just kind of for the like initial pleasure and then just kind of moving on. So I would just say it's someone, I mean, it's not really, it's kind of a derogatory term, but I would say there are people in Isla Vista that you can define as fuckboys, and also people that kind of have, you know, casual sex very, very often.
Do you guys feel like you know a lot of girls who have been used and hurt by fuckboys?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Oh, also to add on that
Have-
one. Oh, sorry.
no, you go ahead.
No.
You go ahead.
Are you sure? Okay.
Go ahead, yeah.
Okay. I would say also I've noticed that some, like, I guess you could say fuckboys like kind of use emotion as kind of like a reel. So they like reel a girl in with emotion, and then they'll just like get what they want, and then they'll just leave. So I think that's kind of malicious.
Like they like emotionally manipulate girls for
exactly.
sex?
Precisely that. Yeah. There's a lot of guys that do that.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Yeah, it's messed up.
So do any of the other girls want to come in on defining a fuckboy? Anybody?
Can you guys say what years you are in college? Like sophomores, juniors?
Yeah. Who wants to start? Yeah.
Just start
go
from here and
ahead.
go around.
I'm a third year.
Okay.
I'm also a third year.
Third year.
Yeah, third year too.
Third year.
And all you
Okay.
guys are under 21, right?
Yes.
Unfortunately. Sadly.
Honestly, as far as just the first like few questions where it just comes to casual sex stuff, like I'm very surprised at your guys' answers, honestly. Just from my experience of like, you know, dating mostly like in Santa Barbara and, you know, like, you know, UCSB women like that stuff, I was very, very surprised.
Did you like assume we were older?
No, I assume that
Like-
you guys were all within the ages of, you know, probably like 19 to like 21 or something like that. You know,
Oh,
like
okay.
UCSB age.
Yeah,
you know, so.
yeah.
Tanner,
okay.
what were you assuming?
Yeah.
I
I'd
was
like to
assuming
know.
like when Chase and I were on here like last time, they were like totally liberated, like, hey, go do whatever you want, like get railed out by as many people as you want. Doesn't
Oh.
matter. Like it's just totally open and honest about it, like no shame. Totally different panel of women, completely. So
We're here.
Mm-hmm. Can I add a comment on that? I think I've seen a lot of girls get really hurt in terms of how guys speak about women. A lot of times when a girl will hook up with a guy and say, like, let's say they get attached, guys will use that to their advantage to look cool. Not every guy, of course, not generalizing. But I have heard a lot of guys talk about, she's obsessed with me just because she wants to hook up another time. Or if a girl wants something more than just hooking up, it's almost a red flag in a girl. And I've only witnessed that in Isla Vista. Everywhere else, like my hometown, any other city, I've never seen guys talk about girls like that.
Wait,
But
how
it's interesting.
specifically, can you give us an example? How specifically are they talking?
Oh, in terms of what?
Well, you mentioned that something about you dislike the way guys talk about girls, or can you give us an example?
Yeah. Just let's say, okay, there's a guy hooking up with a girl. The girl just wants to casually hook up, not necessarily settle down or anything. He goes and tells his guy friends, she's obsessed with me, she wants to keep hooking up with me, she's going to parties just to like find me, stuff like that, and seeing it as somewhat of a red flag, even though she just has genuine interest in him.
Is this firsthand experience?
Oh, no. Firsthand experience for some of my best friends.
Okay.
Yeah, very common.
Okay.
So when you say it's like kind of a red flag for these guys, is it the kind of thing where it makes them pull away from the girls, or yeah?
I've seen multiple of my guy friends cut girls off completely because she wants to consistently hook up. Not even because they want a relationship, just because they want to consistently hook up and things get awkward.
Right. Can I ask a question here?
That's interesting.
Is this like obsession, so to speak, or infatuation with guys? Do you see this developing in girls after they have sex with the guys, or is this kind of thing happening before they have sex with them too?
After.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. You know what I mean.
Of
Yeah.
course. Of
Yeah.
course. Do you guys think women fall in love with guys way quicker after they've had sex with them? Like, do you guys notice yourselves developing feelings for guys like very quickly after you guys have had sex? No?
So the bonding hormone,
Like it can go either
you know,
way.
it's oxytocin, and women release, I think it's like 3 times more oxytocin than men do when they have
Interesting.
sex.
I didn't know that.
So yeah, that's why we were saying like last time, like the statistical data saying like, hey, they're more likely to get a divorce, be unhappy in a marriage, the more partners that they have. That's like one reason, because they're releasing more oxytocin, and they can't release as much oxytocin the more and more that they sleep with somebody casually. So that's what I was saying. Like, there's nothing casual about casual sex.
Yeah.
It's always going to take a little bit of you.
Amen, bro.
I have to say, even if it was like,
I kind of disagree with you a little bit, Tanner.
Let's hear it.
I know some ladies. They be fucking.
True.
They don't give a fuck. They'll hook up with a guy, next, boom, on to the next one. Slept with 100 dudes, don't care. So, but I think I do agree with you that it's a bit more for women. Like they'll bond a bit more likely to, from sex.
see, with
also-
like that too, when you went and said like, you know, girls, like you've had that experience or like you've seen girls do that. I mean, I've seen a lot of guys do that. Like, I think it goes both ways, you know?
Sorry, do what?
Like, you know, go and hook up with a lot of guys, or like go and have sex with one and just like move on to the other. Like, it goes both ways.
Sure.
Like, guys do it too.
Yeah.
And I think like from not like personal experience, but from like a lot of friends, the girls who I know who do that, it's because they've become really, or in the past, they've had an experience where they actually did get really attached to someone, and they were heartbroken because you know, the guy fucked over, or like the fucked up, or like, you know, it didn't end well, and because of that they said, you know, it kind of goes back to that click that you said, like when you find that click, like it's very like suddenly hookups don't become fulfilling, but sometimes you
click?
just get
What?
like you click with someone,
The
you
click?
know,
What's the click?
like you just feel so it's difficult to explain, but like
Articulate it.
you feel like so connected with someone that you're like, oh, this is what it means to be in love, you know, this is like who I want to spend, you know, this is what it means, like the movies, you know, like this is like what it means to fall in love,
But isn't a
and who I
click
want
like
to.
something that can occur very early on? And you use the
Yeah.
word in love.
Yeah. So that's
So-
kind of what it kind of goes back to, like, you know, maybe girls like feeling attached, or like, you know, even guys, like from you know, some experiences, like if you feel like really attached to someone and then maybe you've had like a bad experience with them and time passes on, you're like, oh, I'm not going to be able to get back what I found in the past. And that fear kind of drives people to maybe like hooking up, or like, you know, just because they think that they're not going to be able to re-experience what they have already experienced.
That's a good
If that
point.
makes sense.
Yeah, no, that does. Do you guys see like girls that, you know, like if let's say they get fucked over in a relationship and they're with a fuck boy, he uses them, and they were like really attached to him, and then they get burned. Do you notice them like getting over that by getting under somebody else pretty quickly? Does that happen
Yes.
often?
I think
Absolutely.
also that's like a, you know, that's also, I think that's very common at UCSB, and you could see like a lot of people encourage that too. Like maybe it goes back to like, you know, the UCSB, like, you know, hookup culture and stuff, but that is very common. Like if you do feel attached, then usually the immediate kind of like the route that you go, the path that you go is, okay, let's go and hook up and let's try to forget about someone that way. But eventually, like, I feel like what ends up happening is you go down that road of, like, you know, hot girl summer, like, you know, the hoe phase, and then you find out in the end, oh, this actually isn't really getting me anywhere. Like, I'm not being fulfilled this way.
I mean, honestly, like, the best way to negate all that kind of like heartache is just like don't sleep with people right away. I mean, that literally that's it, because like one guy might be super motivated to like be like, okay, I'm gonna take like a couple dates or do whatever, like hang with a couple times. If they walk away after like 3 or 4 times just because like they're not getting laid and like make those moves and whatnot, the best way to negate like all that is just like don't sleep with them and be like, hey, like straight up and forward, like what are you looking for? What do you want? Where do you see yourself in the future? Like that's the way to do it. And if they walk away, it might seem like a lot of guys are going to be blowing you off and whatnot, but like, hey, good, you know?
And I definitely agree with that. But it, you know, it kind of goes back to like the UCSB, like the culture as a whole. Like you go and you have like a lot of, sometimes I would even say maybe pressure too, to go and like start like engage in that hookup culture, like especially after you're heartbroken. And sometimes it can be like, you know, maybe peer pressure too. And that is true. You know, it definitely is a solution. It's so obvious. And yet, you know, you are who you surround yourself with. And if we're in this culture, sometimes maybe you feel that pressure to act a certain way. And then you think too, because so many people have done it, oh, this will help me out, you know?
So, you know, there's a lot of dudes, like a lot of guys in Santa Barbara. There's not a lot of men. And I will tell you, at least like looking at, at least from like the, Chase and I, we talk about this like all the time, is that like, I'm telling you guys right now, we can change culture. Like one person at a time, our attitudes, our actions, we can absolutely change culture. Like it is culture. It is up to us to do that.
I have a question with you saying that. How would you think would be the best way to do that, to change the culture? As you guys, you know, you guys are men, right?
Yeah, I got something for this.
Please.
Do you guys know who Andrew Tate is?
Oh my god.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Mr.
The
Bang
great,
from the internet.
the great top G, Andrew Tate. His recommendation, his suggestion,
Perfect.
I don't know if it's the right move. He said, the way to fix all the world's problems, his words, not mine, is put a woman's body count on her forehead, and that'll fix everything.
Thank you so much. That was so helpful. That was so helpful.
It actually would.
So, I'm going to open it up to you guys. Do you think that would fix a lot of problems?
I would like to comment on this with guys too, because there's a lot of guys that will have their hoe phase too. I think just because someone had a hoe phase in college doesn't mean that they aren't worth loving when they're in that period later in life. And I think Andrew Tate is referring to people in college and younger people when looking for people to hook up with or people to get in a relationship with. But if you take his claim towards just all women in general, everyone has those periods in their life, you know?
Not everyone. Not everyone.
You're correct. Like, I should not generalize, but a lot of people have those times in their life, and I don't think men or women should be judged for that. So, I don't know. It depends on the person, too. Like, if you're not okay with it, then you're not meant to, like, talk to that person, and then you find someone that, you know, matches your ideals a little bit more.
Yeah.
And even, like...
Before I have you guys come in, I just want to go around the panel on that. So... do you think that would solve all the world's problems if we put the body count on the not my word, that's Andrew Tate's suggestion. You guys know he got banned, so maybe he's wrong. He could be wrong. He got massive. He got canceled.
Everything.
So thoughts on that? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's completely superficial and not important when you're talking to people. I think that body count's a social construct in general. I don't think it's productive.
Body count's a social construct.
Yeah, I think that people put a lot of social importance on it, and when it's to me, and I think to a lot of other people, it's not important. Like, it doesn't matter.
I agree with her. We had a conversation like this when we were driving to a concert. And I agree. I think that, like, body count, it's interesting how it refers to, like, how many people you've had sex with, not, like, how many times you've had sex.
Why is that?
Because, like, I don't
mean,
know.
one body is one body, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, someone could have sex, like, 7 times, and with, like, 7 different people, and their body count would be 7. Whereas, like, someone could have sex, like, 100 times with, like, one person. And, like, in societal eyes, it still deems them, like, less respectable. And I just
Well, the
let
first
me, let
one-
me ask you. Let me ask you a
Go ahead,
question.
Chase.
Let me ask you a question. Let's say you have two people, right? Both of them have had sex 1,000 times. One of those people has had sex 1,000 times with one person. The other person has had sex 1,000 times with 300 total different people. Do you think there's going to be differences in the way those two people develop as people because of how many people they've had sex with? Like, do you think the person who's had sex with one person 1,000 times versus 300 different people, that might change the way that they grow and develop and look at the world? Or is it the same?
I think it depends on like a lot of different things. Like, I don't know, like it depends a lot on like your like relationship status, like what's your relationship like, and like also like what the person wants to do and like the context with it. But yeah, I don't think that like it's something that people should be like judged for. Like,
Well, we're not talking about judgment here. Like, so the reason why I asked you that question is because I think if somebody's had sex with 300 different people, the way that they approach relationships, the way that they approach trusting other people, their ability to bond with other people, I think is going to be like severely affected. Versus if you've only ever had sex with one person, like if you've only ever had sex with one person and they've been faithful to you their whole life, like you're probably going to have a very solid relationship with them. But if you've been with 300 different people, you're probably going to have a lot of baggage, probably a lot of emotional trauma, potentially. You might not look at sex as like a very intimate thing, you know, like I don't know, it just like loses its like sacredness to me, you know. I think it would really change a person a lot.
yeah,
I want to open it back up to the question I was
Yeah.
previously asking, if you want to.
Yeah. So.
Or do you want to respond to
oh
Chase
no, that's
first?
okay. That's fair.
'Cause
I think it's a good point. Yeah, I have nothing to say.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Well, if we're talking about body count
On the forehead.
on the forehead,
Is
right.
that the solution the world needs?
Maybe to Andrew Tate, yes. But to the rest of society, I feel like it's definitely a no. I don't think that everybody should know how many people that you slept with. I feel like that's kind of your personal information and for you and you only, right? I mean, unless you'd like to share it, then obviously that's great, right?
If a guy asked you your body count, like a potential romantic partner,
Mm-hmm.
would you refuse to answer that question?
I think it depends on the relationship that you have with that person. I mean, if it's just like someone that you're going to hook up with and they ask you, well, what's your body count? To me, that's a little bit disrespectful because it's like, well, I mean, if it's like established that we're just hooking up like once kind of thing, it's like, why are you asking? But if it's someone that you're kind of looking to start a really serious relationship with, I think it's a valid question. I think that's like a piece of information that maybe they should know. So to answer your question, no, I don't think it's a good solution.
I would definitely agree with that. I don't think it's the best solution. I think what it ended up doing is it lead people to kind of like be judged before you actually get to know them. Like, I definitely came to UCSB with like, for example, a perception of, let's say, frat guys. Like, all they want to go and do is like hook up with people. They don't really want a genuine relationship. They're not like genuine or down to earth. And it actually wasn't until like recently that I found out like, oh, that's actually not true. And because I came in with like that initial perception, it definitely affected of how I treated other people or how I, perceived different people and how I acted with them. So I think that really if you go and get to know a person without kind of just like initially judging them, especially based off of the body count, it can maybe help you form like maybe a relationship that's a little bit deeper. Obviously, like eventually like it would be good to know, but it does depend on like what you are looking for in a person. If you are looking for a relationship, then I think it's a very like, a question that obviously can go and come up. But like for the initially just knowing like right there on your forehead, I think it would just end up causing like a lot of prejudice. Yeah.
I don't think it's the solution. I don't think it would solve all the world's problems. I personally think I think communication is the solution. But if someone asked me, I disagree with what she said over there. If someone asked me what my body count is, I would tell them. I mean, if they react poorly to it, then I'm not going to hook up with them. I feel like that's a huge red flag, but I don't think it's anything to be ashamed of. I mean, I've done what I've done, and there's no point in like trying to hide that or pretend that it is something bad.
I think it'd be beneficial. I think that if people were to say, if they're just looking for somebody to hook up with, and they're like, oh, like you and me, we're the same, or if people were looking for somebody that's a little bit more stable and something more serious,
they could like immediately tell that, and it would save a lot of time.
But like, I have a question. Can I follow up on that?
Of course.
So you went and said if you're looking to hook up. So like, I think maybe like, you know, the body count versus someone who's looking to hook up is different. Because for example, you were saying, Chase, that you were a different person freshman year. So maybe your body count's like really high, but now you're a different person. So if you just went and had like that number on your forehead, they're going to perceive you or judge you based off of your past actions and not based off your actions today. So maybe that's like, obviously it would be really simple, you know. It's kind of like if every girl and guy like got introduced and a guy knew, oh, she's into me because she said, oh, I'm into you, why don't we like start that instead of maybe playing them. Obviously that would be really helpful for everyone. So is that kind of what you mean, maybe the body count, or kind of like going and talking to him and saying, hey, are you just in it to hook up, or do you actually maybe want to start something a little bit more serious?
I mean, part of it is like atonement, you know, for like what you've done, but then also it could just be someone they see it, and then for somebody that's just like hard no, and that's just that. For somebody, they might be like, hey, you might have had some kind of phase, might have done something, but I can get over that. I can talk to you. I can like you as a person. Get over that. But I mean, for some people, they're going to be able to do that. For some people, they're not going to be able to, you know, and for them, like, then that's cut and dry right there. Like, if somebody wants to make that assumption and be like, absolutely not, like right there, no, then that's on them. If somebody wants to be like, hey, this could still be a good person, whatnot, then, you know, that's on them.
Yeah, so before I answer that question, Brian, can I ask you to flesh out why Andrew Tate thinks that putting body counts on people's foreheads would solve all the world's problems?
You know what? I don't recall precisely his reasoning. I just remember the quip that he made. So I know, and I don't want to misspeak for him. So,
well, I vaguely recall hearing a clip where he was talking about this, and basically it came down to the more people that you have sex with in your lifetime, like we talked about in the last episode that we did, you know,
by the way, can I just ask you, do you think we should, because we've talked about body count so much, do you think we should try to cover tonight? Do you think we should try to cover some other topics, or?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Not stay on it too long.
I think we fixated on it for a while last time, and I think there's a lot of other topics that we can cover.
So we'll touch on it a bit, but then we'll try to move on.
Yeah. So from what I understand, Andrew Tate's perspective for like why he said that, I personally, when I'm thinking about like the kind of woman that I want to marry, like how many men she's slept with matters to me, because they've done studies, and the more people that a person has sex with in their lifetime, it significantly increases their chances of getting divorced.
Oxytocin.
What'd you say?
Oxytocin, like I was saying before, the amount of oxytocin they release.
Yeah, I think it desensitizes you to, like, if you've slept with like 100 people, when you're releasing that bonding hormone, if you've released it with 100 people, I think it's going to like significantly desensitize your ability to connect with like another person in that deep, intimate way. And I think that's important. Like, I personally believe that God created our bodies to release that hormone so that we can deeply connect with another person and like really have like a close connection with them. And I think when people sleep with a lot of people long term, you kind of lose some of that. And you know, divorce rates have increased in the past few decades. Here in California, it's like 50%. I really care about like people having healthy marriages. Like, I really want to have one. My parents did not have one. It sucked. And I think that like a lot of the world's problems come from the fact that, you know, they have broken families. And when it comes to putting body counts on people's foreheads, like, let me ask you guys this, like, as women, would you feel judged if your body counts were on your foreheads?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think it might entice you to sleep with less men if that was the situation?
Yes.
I don't think that's a fair question at all.
Why?
Oh.
Why not?
I said yes.
Well, I just think that like, when you're talking about body count, especially because most of us said that is not the way. The two men at the table seemed to agree with that statement. I think that body counts disproportionately have a negative effect on women than they do men. And they also have a negative effect on men, in the sense that men feel pressured to have higher body counts, women feel pressured to have lower body counts. And I just think that that's like, I don't know. It's just, it's not.
You're right. It is an unfair question because there's a double standard there. It's absolutely unfair. But the question was, if we did live in a world where your body count was broadcasted, do you think it would motivate you to sleep with less men?
I think I think it depends on the person. I mean, to go back to what she said, there is a double standard. And so if you were to say guys versus girls, guys have a body count on their head and girls have a body count on their head. Yeah. In my opinion, I think that it would make the men just be like, oh, yeah, great. Like, let's just keep going. And then it would make the girls, because of the double standard, be like, oh, well, absolutely not. I don't want people to think that I sleep around. Like, there's such a negative stereotype behind that. So I think it would have a different effect for boys and for girls. So, yeah.
I mean, they'd kind of eat their own. Like, again, if a guy was like, oh, I'm just going to, like, rack up this body count. And then, again, with changing culture and influence and whatnot, you could be like, yo, that's disgusting. Like, not going to sleep with you. And then, hey, any woman that, again, like, wants to do that, like, hey, go for it. But then it would just separate people based on what they like and what they value, you know?
I think that...
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that's actually, like, I don't know, the more I think about it, the more I realize, like, how negative it is. Because, like, I think the reason, and we talked about this in the car, too, the reason why, like, men care, I think, at least, like, about low body counts is because I think they like... I'm not saying this is all men, but I'm saying that a lot of men like to have that, like, sense of ownership, like, oh, like, this is, like, untouched, like, no one else, like, saw this besides me, you know?
That's big.
And I think that's
big
like,
for men.
I think that's, like, such a, I think it would, like, if that were, if, like, my body count was broadcasted on my forehead, or, like, any girls was, then I think that would, like, just create more of, like, this society where, like, men feel ownership over women.
That's an interesting take. I wasn't expecting that last part.
You know what? Let's we can maybe come back a little bit to body count stuff, but let's read a couple chats here. So we got some super chats.
Let's go.
Let's see here. Okay, we got Mike Davis, the $5 soup chat. Guys, just heads up, Mike Davis is the homie, but we're doing... Oh, wow. I told you to wear a tank top, Chase. I mean, you should have worn a tank, but... Super chats are 10 and up to be read and responded to, but we will display all super chats in stream overlay. Chase holding the mic tight, those forearms looking buff. We already know they get a daily workout.
That's true.
I do
get my daily workout, Mike. I take some days off though.
Okay.
Appreciate the compliment, bro.
Edward Scornfield with the $10 super chat. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Do women allow athletic masculine men to break rules and make rules for more beta men? If beta men?
I think it's beta.
Yeah. English is my second language. If a man is not physically gifted, are you less likely to let him cheat than the man who is physically gifted? So...
I think a better way to phrase that would be, do women allow high value, high status men to break more rules? And do you guys make more rules for, like, dudes that are lower on the food chain?
We'll go around on that one. We'll go around. We'll start over here.
I don't think so. My standards are my standards. Like, I don't really care who you are. Like, you're going to meet them or you're not.
I think that, like, high achieving men, I think they are almost, like, more able to, like, break more rules just because, like, I don't know, like, a lot of women appreciate, like, the security that comes with, like, that, like, high achieving men. So I think they're, like, a little scared to leave them. But, like, I think when it comes to respect, like, no, I wouldn't respect, like, a high achieving man who cheated on me versus, like, a low achieving man.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I mean, like, what kind of just came to my head right now would just be maybe, like, people, like, really good athletes or, like, celebrities or just really rich people maybe, because those people have higher statuses, right? And, like, while that's cool and all, I definitely don't think that has anything to do with, like, what makes it okay if they cheat on you or not, because at the end of the day, they're a person, and you have to realize that they're, like, a person. And if you're, like, dating them, then that kind of status, I feel like, wouldn't really have much of an effect on, like, the deep and intimate relationships that you would have. So I don't think that makes it okay if, like, a high status person does something wrong.
To be completely honest, I think that it's easy to definitely say that, and I wish it was like that. And I definitely think that, you know, personality is a really, really big factor, especially when you get into relationships. But I think the initial interaction girls will have with guy, like, physical, like it is pretty important. Like I've heard multiple girls, I mean, especially guys, I'm sure do the same thing. They're like, oh, who's that girl? And you first go like, oh, can I see an Instagram picture of them? You know, it is normal for people to just go and judge based off of looks. You know, we can't deny that. I don't think anyone can deny that. So if you kind of mean like physically gifted, like, you know, I definitely think that initially people will tend to allow guys to break those rules. And I think it goes back to, you know, even the perception of like frats, like over here at UCSB, ATO kind of has this perception of going and being like, you know, really, really hot guys, you know, are in ATO. And then girls, even though they're aware of that, they still kind of go to those frats. And even though they know maybe those guys might not be like the best, they'll still go and like allow them to kind of break rules, at least initially. Of course, like once that happens and you experience that it does hurt, like that feeling of getting hurt, then you will go and say like, you know, when you get into like an intimate relationship, that's also when you want something more. And I kind of think it goes back to like that hookup culture where initially being like hooking up is like, it might seem fun, but like after a while, like it's just so unfulfilling. Just like, you know, being unfulfilled, like you want something more than just someone who's attractive, but you also want to get into a deeper level.
We have a clarifying super chat here from Edward Scornfield. No. Intrinsically, they want strong masculine men first. Forget the status. So I think Chase, yeah, he's
correcting me. He's correcting what I said.
He specifically does want to know about the strong masculine.
My apologies for thinking I was correcting what you said, Edward.
Well, I was thinking along the same lines of that's maybe this is his original one, a better way to get at the women's willingness to, oh wait, this is not the original one. Sorry, hold on, it's this one. He's sending a lot. Thank you, Edward. Really appreciate it, man. So if a man is not physically gifted, are you less likely to let him cheat than the man who is physically gifted? I feel like you more often hear that less. I think you weren't wrong to ask that, though, because I think you more often see that coming from men with a lot of status. So like a famous athlete or musician or whatever. A guy who's in exceptionally good shape, he's going to be perceived as more attractive, so he could potentially get away with more. But, I mean...
I think like in college settings, like the alpha jock dudes are probably going to get away with a lot more rule breaking. Mm-hmm. But like out in the real world, those dudes like aren't as relevant to like women, like grown women. There's still a lot of chicks that go for them, but like in the real world, like of adults and stuff, like it's typically like the presidents and the billionaires and the professional athletes and the movie stars that are, you know, they've got a girlfriend or a wife and they have tons of affairs and their girlfriend or wife just lets them get away with all of it, you know.
And that's like a good point that you make too. And it's like, you know, back to that like UCSB culture. So like over here, I definitely think UCSB is a bubble. Like Ivy is a bubble, you know, like if you...
Also, let's just because we have viewers that aren't really in the area, I'd say let's maybe avoid the nuances of dating. And I know I asked that question initially, but I think overall, let's just try to keep things more general.
Okay. Yeah. So, so maybe like going back to like what I think that they went and perceived, or what that question actually entailed about like that strong masculinity, I would have to maybe say like it actually doesn't matter, because I think every single girl has like a type. Like I was very surprised, like going and finding out my friends' types, like for me, like, you know, I was like, I was very surprised to find out some of my friends' types that was not what I perceived. Like every girl's attracted to something differently. That doesn't mean just because like you see in movies, oh, girls are really, you know, attracted to just like very strong masculine guys. That's actually not true. Like some girls are attracted to like, you know, the exact opposite, or maybe
there's some women that are attracted to effete weak men.
Yes, actually, you would be surprised.
I mean, like the artsy chicks, like
like the skinny white guys. Like that's so many of my friends. It's a huge thing. It's like a trend right now. It's like
skinny white guys.
Skinny white guys.
Tall skinny white
guys.
Yes.
Skinny
oh
white
my
guys.
God. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's like a
default,
trend.
Though, like there was even a comment that said it was like, if you're handsome enough, they'll let you do it, and that is 100% true. And it goes both ways too, because I mean, you'll even see dudes that say, you know, even taking out looks away from it, like that are high value, where, you know, this chick could not have a lot going for her, but just very good looking, and dudes just like throwing themselves under the bus and like dropping tons of money on them, and they just like trample them and treat them like shit, and there's zero self-respect.
No.
I mean, it definitely goes both ways. There's no doubt in my mind that the more attractive that you are, the more physically fit you are, the more you can get away with. There's no debate about it.
Anthony. I don't know where I'm coming. Sorry, Edward Scornfield. Speaking of athletes, Junior Soprano left a comment. These girls never had the makings of a varsity athlete.
Excuse me, sir. I played varsity volleyball. Okay.
That's from Junior Soprano, the boss of the DeMio crime family in New Jersey.
Is it because we don't like? Is it because we're not? Is he saying that we don't look like we're varsity athletes? Is that what he's saying?
You know what? I don't want to speak for Mr. Soprano.
Of course not. Right.
He's saying that. I mean, did you guys play lacrosse or anything?
I played varsity volleyball, so he's not talking about me.
Or any sports?
I got a varsity letter for managing the varsity golf team.
For managing? For managing?
Yeah.
So you just stood there?
No. I like booked their like little golf thing.
Did you play?
One time, but I threw the driver when I did the thing. It was bad.
Okay. I didn't know that's how that works. What about you?
Yeah, I actually was a golfer, so maybe you would have managed me.
Okay. And then you said
I already said my piece.
I was on the swim team and also, varsity tennis in my high school.
I never did sports. I was always working full time, so unfortunately I never had the chance to.
Okay, so Junior Soprano.
He's wrong.
Sorry, you misread. You misread.
Yo, I have a question for Hannah based on what she was saying a second ago.
Yes.
So you mentioned that women let the dudes at the ATO frat get away with breaking.
You
mentioned that women let them get away with breaking way more rules. Why is that?
I think it goes back to what you were saying, Tanner. Like, it is like, back what I was saying, like, I mean, everyone, like, I'm not going to generalize, but a lot of people will go and have like an initial judgment, and how you judge someone is by the first interaction you have them. And to be honest, if you're not talking to that person, it is going to be about their physical appearance. Like, that's just like, society has normalized that. That is normalized. And,
is ATO like the most handsome frat? Is that what it is?
I don't know. No. But you have like that, I'm now we're talking about like UCSB and generalizing, but like, if like you are at school, like a university, and you go and you have like, Greek life at UCSB, Greek life isn't that big, but, or not as big as like in different schools, but, there is like Greek ranking. And then like, if you go and have the top frats, and you would maybe assume, but I'm just going to leave it at that.
Wait, really quick, just around the table, are any of you in a sorority? Not anymore?
Not as of recent.
Well, I haven't sent my official letter of dropping, but no,
Okay.
I'm an AKO. Yeah.
Is that? Oh, you go ahead.
I'm in a sorority. I'm also in a professional business fraternity.
Okay. Nice. Cool.
Were you guys all part of the same sorority?
Yes, sir.
Are you guys all leaving for the same reason?
Yes, sir.
Uh-oh.
I'd say so.
Can you share why?
Well, I mean, it's not like a specific reason, honestly. Like, we had a great 2 years. Like, we all lived in our sorority house.
Which one? What?
Kappa Gamma.
Wait. So sorry, you're AXO, right?
Yes.
AXO
for now.
I'm Alpha Delta Pi.
And then Kappa what?
Kappa Gamma, KKG.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Okay. No, I don't know any.
You've
of
never
these.
heard of
I don't
Kappa,
know.
really?
Well, I mean, I've heard of
Brian.
AXO.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
Sorry.
There's not
Sorry,
a specific.
Kappa,
oh,
Gamma.
okay. It's okay.
Sorry.
We're not offended.
Oh wait, that's KKK. I didn't mean to.
KKG.
Okay.
KKG.
Edward, we're gonna get to your. Edward's been blasting the super chats. I think the whole show is probably just gonna be Edward's super chats. Edward, really appreciate it. We're gonna continue on with his super chats though. Okay, so body count simply represents a woman's capacity to defer gratification. It's a gauge to determine whether a woman has self-control as it relates to external validation. Less problems. Thank you for the $10 super chat there, Edward. Got another one. Your actions yesterday will say a lot about what you'll do tomorrow. It's why no women on this podcast right now would marry an ex-prison inmate. Thank you, Edward, for the $10 super chat. Okay, we're going to touch on that super chat really quick. Just bring it back to body count for a second, then go back to the super chats. So past is the past, right? I think that's kind of where you guys were getting at, body count. I think overwhelmingly you guys said body count shouldn't matter. Is that correct? Show of hands really quick. Body count shouldn't matter.
It shouldn't, but it does.
It shouldn't, but it... Okay, I see what you mean. So past, if the past doesn't matter, then just curious, and you saw in the super chat, would you date a guy who's previously went to prison, felon, committed a couple, let's say white collar crimes, so some tax evasion, some tax fraud maybe, some casual fraud,
The
like
small things.
the usual.
The small things.
Like he didn't kill anybody.
But he's a felon. He went to prison.
Mm-hmm.
Would that deter you?
I would not date him, no, but I don't think you can compare that to having sex. That is two totally different things. That is one past, and then having sex is another past. That's a very
They're kind of
strange
different.
question.
Why? How so?
I don't know if they're that different.
Yeah, how are they different?
It's somebody's past,
Yeah,
They're
it's
both
somebody's
crimes.
Oh,
They're
I see
both
what you guys
crimes.
are saying. I see
you
what
guys
you
were
guys are
saying.
saying.
You guys were saying you shouldn't judge somebody based on their past. Okay, that doesn't change their value as a person or anything like that. If they did something like that, why do you feel like you can write somebody off for a white collar crime?
I'm not saying that I would write them off completely. I think it would definitely give me some hesitations, and I'm not sure that I would want to date somebody that's committed a felony, depending on whatever that situation is. I just think that those are two very different questions. Like, what's her body count? Was he in prison?
So I
Very
have
different.
I'll redo the question. I have something that'll work, but just really quick, yes or no, would you date a guy with a criminal past? Yes or no?
With a white collar crime criminal past. Let's say he was an amazing guy.
What's white collar again?
So like this is different from like beating and robbing somebody. It's like doing tax fraud or like stuff like that.
Yeah, I would. I think.
Casual embezzlement, like just embezzling funds,
I don't know. It's like
drug manufacturing. How about that? That's like a more
drug
proper.
manufacturing's-
That's a proper crime.
I think it's kind of like
Methamphetamine.
I mean, that shows that they're smart.
Okay. Yes.
It's kind of hot.
Yes. Yes or no?
It depends on what they did. Leaning towards no, but like a tax fraud, okay.
I'd have to agree with that answer. It definitely depends on the crime.
I agree. It depends on the crime.
Fair enough. So I'm going to sort of alter the question a little bit. Would you date, sleep with, hook up with, whatever? Would you date a guy that previously had slept with men?
I don't know. I mean, I probably wouldn't know. Like, I don't feel like he like owes that to me to say. I don't know. I've never been in that situation. I don't know what I would do.
So let me try to
Why
grease
not?
it a little bit. You're about to hook up with a new guy. He reveals to you that last Tuesday, Eduardo was balls deep in him. He was receiving.
Oh.
That changes the dynamic.
It does. That changes a lot.
He was like, when in the process is he saying this? Like, are we getting ready, or is it like we're at dinner?
What?
Like, it would be completely different if we were already in bed and he was like, yeah, I just had sex with a guy last week. I would be like, okay,
Maybe
we're
it-
done. Like, this is no.
Maybe
like,
it's
I'm
like a
leaving.
mutual friend you found out.
Oh, if it's a mutual friend, no, never.
Okay, not a mutual friend. Just you heard it through the grapevine. This guy,
If I heard it,
he's hooking up with other dudes. He's hooking up with dudes.
okay.
Do you have hesitations there?
No, not really.
Okay, so you'd sleep with a guy who's bi.
Yeah. I
Okay.
guess.
That's fine. Just
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
okay. So he was just getting. He was in. I don't know how is it okay if I'm graphic with you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's bent over in doggy style position, and just this there's a bear. I don't know if you guys are familiar with gay terms, but the guy's a bear. It's like a big guy, you know. With anyways, I'm not okay. Let's just visualize. Visualize. He's bent over. This is your guy. This is your man, and he's getting fucked in the ass. I want to know, is that kind of, you know, like a little? You feel a certain type of way about that?
I think that I have never been in that situation. I'm not gonna lie, there would definitely be hesitations, especially, you know, with this graphic image that you've now put in my head. Definitely hesitations. It would depend on how attracted I am to him. I mean, if he's just this like goddess looking guy, just like extremely hot, I mean, I don't think I would.
Skinny, artsy, white guy.
I'm not really into skinny artsy.
Oh, I thought you said that was like the thing.
It's a trend, but it's
Okay,
not
not for
mine.
you,
No,
not for
not
you.
for me.
Okay, got it.
But if he was relatively attractive, like not relatively, if he was really attractive, then yes. But if he was just kind of mid, just kind of something that I was doing casually, like definitely not. No. It depends on the person.
Okay.
I think it also depends on the panel of girls you're asking. Like for me, for example, I just like into straight guys. Like I personally wouldn't, but obviously like I still have like a lot of friends who are a lot more open, you know, so would definitely be into that.
So for you, it'd be a deal breaker.
It would just be no for me,
Okay.
but that's just me, you
That's
know?
fine.
Yeah, it's
That's
just
fine.
who you connect with, you know?
But that's his past, right?
Well, yeah, but that's his past, but I mean.
That's his part of his body count.
But yeah, of course. But sometimes it just goes and depends like who you're attracted to, what you're attracted to. Like, I don't really know if that has to do with like the body count per se.
Okay.
Me personally, apparently this is an unpopular opinion across the board, but I think if a guy's bisexual, I have no problem with that as long as he communicates it with me. And
Scoot the mic just a little bit closer towards you.
sorry, is this better?
Or just scoot it to the edge of the table. Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, if we communicate and if he's being safe and he's using protection, I have no problem with it. I mean, if he's bisexual, I'd be like, that's great. Like, thank you for sharing that with me. I'd rather he be honest and then we talk through it. And if he's a good guy, I'd be fine with it.
We just had a walk-in. We just had a walk-in in the bathroom there. Anyways, so okay. All right, there's a lot of super chats here, guys. So I need to just get through them really quick. Edward, sorry, I'm gonna try to get through as many of these as I can. All right, Edward. Edward, why don't we just have Edward just come on the show?
He really wants to be on the
you're
show.
Invited.
Thursday. Can you make it to Santa Barbara, SBA? We've got an airport. Okay. We were the most avoided topic in intersectional dynamics is the alpha fucks beta bucks dilemma. I hope you guys discuss the first super chat. It's a fundamental problem. Thank you, Edward, for the.
I thought we did
I
discuss
think
the
Edwards-
first super chat, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we did.
Was that an old super chat that he sent
Well,
right here?
This is just a follow-up on the most
The
avoided
athlete.
topic: intersectional alpha fucks beta bucks. Yeah, we did talk a little bit.
We went pretty in-depth
talked a
on
bit
that.
about that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Edward. We've got another one here from Edward. Thank you, Edward, for the $10 super chat. Much appreciated. Let's see. No. Oh wait. Okay, we got this one. Edward Scornfield, $10 super chat. Is it understandable for men who aren't physically gifted, who become a someone through hard work, to not take women seriously? Is it understandable for men who aren't physically gifted? Who
Here's
became,
I want
I think I know
to
what he's talking
respond
about.
to this. I want to respond to this.
Sure.
Edward, I will say this as somebody who's spent years working on myself. There's a lot of like younger girls that I don't take seriously from like a dating and marriage perspective because like I have high standards and I know what I want in a wife, and there's a lot of women that aren't up to par, with that, and I don't take women like that seriously from a dating perspective. From a general life perspective, I think that you should still take people like that seriously. So
I would say as far as not being physically gifted, I can definitely say, for a lot of women, like first thing that we'll say, look for a man is like height, right? There's nothing that you can do about height. But what you can do is you can always do something about your physique. You can always work out. I mean, you browse anywhere on social media and you see people, in wheelchairs, like doing pull-ups and whatnot, like great for them. Like you can always do something about how you look. You can always do something about how much money you make. You can always be a more interesting person. Listen to podcasts, read books. Like, is that there's there's no such like a lot of men, you know, that again like are incels and whatnot. A lot of them are doing that, like they're shooting themselves in the foot. Like, again, you can't do anything about hype. You can always make yourself more appealing to women, like no matter what.
Okay.
Just not with hype.
Absolutely.
Let's get to this next super chat here. Yo, Brandon, thank you for the $10 super chat, man. Hey, it was good talking to you yesterday on the phone, man. Appreciate it. Good format tonight, fellas. Everyone looks sharp. Brian, it's the Gents Club experience for you this weekend, sir. I will be at the Spearmint. Thank you for the hookup, man. Appreciate it. Let's see. By the way, anyone watching Spearmint Rhino, check it out in Santa Barbara. Okay. Edward. All right. I guess this is the Edward Scornfield show tonight, guys. Yeah, dude in the mill is right. After the athletes run through the hot ones, when they hit the wall, they don't want that beef anymore. What? Trying to remember what that was in response to.
I think he's just saying that like if after they kind of get ran through, then they realize like, oh, that wasn't a great idea, and that's that.
Okay, holy shit, Edward, dude, Edward, you're a fucking legend, dude. Hold on, we gotta get a little for you, dude.
Bro, Edward financially supporting the podcast tonight.
Yo, this is Edward. I don't know if this is your first time joining us, but I think it's the first time I think I've seen you super chat. So really appreciate you, man. Thank you for tuning in. Zavi, what's up, man? How you doing? Each one of these girls have friends that they think they shouldn't be with that dude because he's no good for her, and each of them are that friend.
Wait, hold on. Each one of these girls have friends that they think they shouldn't be with that dude.
What?
Zavi, no offense, bro. You got to learn punctuation, my guy.
Okay, Edward Scornfield with the $10 super chat. What's the women's first choice here? A tall, athletic man, or well, I mean, I'm pretty sure what their answer is going to be.
Okay, here's a question to add on to that, because I think Edward, 99 out of 100 women are going to prefer a tall, athletic man over a shorter, unathletic one.
What about
interesting question for you guys. Would you guys prefer a tall, athletic man,
broke,
or
who's broke, or right? Is that where you were going with it?
That's not where I was going with it. I was gonna say tall, athletic man, or maybe an unathletic one who like maybe he plays guitar, or like he's I don't know effete. He's got some interesting hobbies. Which would you guys prefer?
Can you define fet?
Like effeminate.
A what?
Effeminate, like he's like
well,
kind of girly, like
okay.
not traditionally masculine.
Okay, got it.
What'd
you say?
like written by a woman type of man.
I think I'm actually using that. Wait,
I'm not sure if it's like written by a woman type of dude, but like the last podcast that I did with Brian, one of the girls said like I actually really like effeminate guys who aren't like traditionally masculine. So like, what's your guys' preferences on that?
I mean, naturally, I would probably be drawn more into the more attractive one. But like, if I liked the other one more, I probably would go with him. It's kind of more about personality for me, at least.
Okay.
Yeah, probably what Hannah said.
I genuinely like don't have a preference. I really don't. I think that both can be extremely attractive. It just depends on, I mean, personality, looks, values, just everything like that. So I don't have a preference.
I want to revise the question a little bit. Sorry, Edward. Okay. Really good looking guy, tall, handsome, whatever, but broke, not ambitious, whatever. Well, I guess he's got to be kind of ambitious if he's athletic, or kind of like dad bod guy, but rich, maybe a bit of status. Go ahead.
I would go for the more attractive one if it's just the money that's different between them besides the other factor, just because I plan on supporting myself, so.
Support, okay.
Speak into the mic.
I don't know. I would probably go for the latter, yeah.
I mean, if the tall athletic guy was broke because he was unambitious, then that's like a horrible turnoff. And I just like, I really value like ambition in someone. And so if that was the case, then I wouldn't.
Let's say he's really hot though.
Okay, but how hot? Like
so
10
hot.
out of 10. But
yeah.
Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
I still don't think that matters. If he's super hot, but he can't he
calling
can't
cap.
support himself.
I'm calling cap.
You really think so? Really?
Just some.
I'm not envisioning
some super ultra stud Chad.
To date, to have a life with.
To date, like some super ultra stud
No.
Chad, like really jacked,
No.
very handsome. No.
No.
But to have sex one time.
Let's say he's.
Well, yeah, but like that's different.
There it is. There it is.
It's different. They're two very different things. Dating and sex, very different. So
We're just gonna keep it moving. Go ahead.
No, that's true. Dating and sex is very different. Like, obviously, like, first, if I'm going to have sex with someone, like, I'm going to choose the more physically attractive one. But, like, it kind of goes back to, like, ambition. Like, I think for me, like, ambition is something that's a big green flag. Like, and if someone is, like, works really hard and works on themselves, but also, I could see myself having a future with them, then that's the person I'm going to want to be with, It's kind of like going to like the university. Like, I want to end up with someone who actually goes and has like a future versus someone who may not have a future.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer the more attractive one. I think attraction's huge, and just because you're broke, I mean, I can help you get your credit score up. Like, if we're in a relationship, like, I know what I bring to the table, and just because.
What do you bring to the table?
Oh, that's a good question.
You just said you know what you bring to the table. So what do you bring to the table?
I'm very ambitious, and
Okay.
I know that I will be successful in the future.
Is that it?
Oh,
Anything
well, there's
else?
more too. I'm also, I love to like cook for other people.
Sure.
I'm very caring. I love to do stuff together. I love to spend time.
So the first two things
person.
you said, though, is that you're very ambitious and that you're going to be successful.
And I can help them. I mean, if we love each
Okay.
other, I'm totally willing to help them with that.
So let me ask you a question. Do you think that is something that men care about?
Yes.
No offense, by the way, but do you think that men care about a woman's ambition or success?
I would hope so.
Let's open it up to the panel really quick. Do you think men care about a woman's, what she brings financially to a relationship?
I really think that's a question that kind of depends on the person. Not to say depends again, but I think that everybody has a different opinion about money, and everybody comes from different backgrounds. So I feel like you can't generalize that.
I feel like we should speak in generalities, though.
Yeah, we're speaking generalities here. Let's generalize.
Was the question you do?
Go ahead.
Generally speaking, do you think dudes care about ambition and financial success in a woman? Do you think they find that attractive?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think it's like a high priority for men?
Probably less successful than like them, but like still successful.
Okay.
I think that, okay, we're generalizing, so I'm not going to say depends. I mean, it seems as if in today's society, things are kind of shifting. It's kind of going from like, oh, the man provides all the money to, I feel like it's kind of getting a little bit closer to being equal. I mean, I would hope. So I would say yes, they do value that, because obviously you want an ambitious woman. You want a woman that can stand her own ground, that can make her own money. And I don't know, I just think it's like society has really been accepting that lately, and I'm really happy. I'm happy about that. It makes me happy.
I have two takes on this. One, I think boys versus men kind of is different. Like boys, I don't think, definitely not.
Yep.
Men, I definitely think, in my opinion, I think that they value that more. And also, I think it also is like how you grew up. I actually just talked to a recent close friend of mine, and I was very surprised, but he said that he grew up with parents who were very much like, his mom went and like grew up in the household, she took care of the kids, like kind of like the stereotypical, versus his dad went and like, worked. And he said he wouldn't mind having, a wife who kind of like stayed at the household. And if there was a choice between him working and her working, he would prefer him to work and her to stay in the household. Versus some of my other friends, go and say that they're much more like, it's getting more toward like, more of an equalized relationship. But generally, I would go back to my first thing, which is like men would value that.
Okay. Versus boys.
Yep,
that's a good distinction to make.
Mm-hmm. I think you could actually argue that a boy would care more about a woman's finances. Because as a man, let's say a guy who's an attorney, for example, he'd probably date a barista, a woman who worked at Chick-fil-A, if she was attractive. But I'd say most women who are attorneys would not do the reverse. A female professional, a female attorney, or say a doctor, or whatever it is, she's probably going to be looking for a guy that is on her level or higher. Like,
yeah, and I think definitely maybe from like this panel, like we're all kind of like 19, 20. I think our perception is definitely like, you know, we are at college right now, and I've experienced like, you know, boys, and then I've also dated a couple like I would consider like men who like go and value things a little bit differently. So I think, you know, my perception is, you know, limited, but I do kind of agree with that. And then maybe also like, I mean, you guys, please like let me know, because I'm actually genuinely interested, is that do you find maybe a really successful woman very like intimidating almost? And then would this kind of like sidetrack, or like would you guys be deterred from it? Or
Tanner, you go ahead first.
Okay, so, you know, for me, I'm trying to scale myself to be the best man that I can be. Where, I mean, now I have a good job. I mean, I'm not like rich by any means, but I do pretty good for myself. Totally support myself. I have my side business now. It's like something of my own that I'm trying to scale that, you know, should be making like more money. And that's something that, you know, I want to do for me, but also to provide like for a woman. Big thing for me is like, I want a woman who, you know, say if she has a great job, like makes money, like that's fine. But I'm looking for a woman that is like very feminine, like, and for me, like has to love babies, like, and has to want to have a family. Like, that's huge for me. Like, that's what I'm looking for. If she likes to work and does all that, like, hey, good, great, but she like has to be feminine and has to love babies and would have to be willing to spend at least like the first 5 years of my kid's life, you know, like with them, raising them and whatnot. So if they want to like work and want to be successful in that way, that's fine, but they also have to be okay with the family dynamic that I would want in the future, and like to let me support them in that way.
so you're a little turned off by like independent women?
I mean, I wouldn't say turned off, but like say if there was like an independent woman that was kind of doing her thing, but then she was like, hey, I do want children and I do want to raise them and whatnot, then like that's what I'm looking for. If it's an independent woman that's just like, oh no, like if I were to have a kid or whatever, but then immediately just like, put them in a, like public school and just have them like be raised by whoever and have nothing to do with them in that way, that's not something that I would want. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, the distinction here is that, like, when I get married, I want a wife who is submissive and traditionally feminine, and I want to be in, like, a leadership role and kind of traditionally masculine. And one of the things that I think happens a lot in the world is when women are making a lot of money, they kind of end up, like, wearing the pants in the relationship. And that can really kind of fuck up relationship dynamics. Like, when I was growing up, my mom, she wasn't making more money than my dad, but there was a lot of times where she was kind of wearing the pants in the relationship, and it created a lot of friction in our household. And like if I found a woman who was making more money than I was, like it might be a little bit intimidating, but like if there's like a big difference, like let's say, I don't know, she's making like $400,000 a year more than I am. Like that'd probably be a bit intimidating. But if I met her and we had a good dynamic and like the two of us could kind of collaborate on like how we wanted to build a life together, and she like trusted my leadership, that's like the key, right? Like if a woman trusts my leadership as a man, like that's like a green light for me.
Mm-hmm.
So to just make it clear, what you're saying is that an independent woman isn't a total turnoff, but you still have to be the leader. The man still has to be the leader in the relationship, or like, you know, the woman has to be submissive.
For me, like that's what I want. Like I personally find like the whole like boss bitch, like I'm a strong independent woman who don't need no man. Like I find that to be a total turnoff. I don't like that at all.
I think coming like, you know, Chase and I were both Christians, and kind of we look at that way, is that like, you know, women will kind of, speaking from like a marriage standpoint, you know, women will kind of submit to their husbands, and they might not necessarily agree with everything that they're saying, but they will still, and if they do agree or not agree with it, they will let them know, vocalize like why they don't agree with it, why they think it's not a good idea, but at the end of the day will still submit to their husband, and then still trust them enough to be like, okay, if this is a mistake or whatever, then you will find us way out of it, and trust enough to be that way. If I explain that right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like, so one of the things that the Bible tells us as men is that we're called to be the spiritual leaders of our household. And as a Christian, I look at what's going on in the world, and I think that we're in a
But
spiritual.
Chase, not everyone's a Christian.
You're right. You're right.
Oh.
But as a Christian, I look at what's happening in the world, and I see a spiritual war that's happening, and I see that as something that, like, you know, there's I think that there's a lot of dudes who, how would I put this? There's a lot of pitfalls in the world spiritually. I don't know. I know you don't like getting into like the trans stuff and whatnot on the show, but like I'll just say this: like
Chase.
there's a lot of pitfalls in the world spiritually, and like when a woman doesn't submit to like a husband or like the way he wants to lead the household, like you might end up in a situation where the husband doesn't want a kid to get a transgender surgery or something like that.
Wait, I'm sorry. How do you get from point A to point B? We're like,
We're not
women
gonna-
who
yeah,
are,
we're-
like,
It's an important point.
No, I'm,
it is an
I'm
important
curious.
point though.
Like, how do you get from point A to point B? Where, like, let's say, like,
Wait.
someone who, like, financially supports their household. Because my mom, like, when growing up, like, my mom honestly brought in, like, most of the money. Like, and I don't understand how, like, those women condition their children to be transgender.
No, I'm not saying they condition their kids. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, in households where there isn't a traditional masculine feminine dynamic, like sometimes the dudes will be pushovers and, you know, stuff.
But I mean, there's also plenty of men that are like pretty liberal and would just go along with some of those ideologies or whatever.
There are.
But
I'm just saying that's not what I want for my household. I'm not interested.
That's
in
fine. And I'll give my take. I don't really, for me, finances wise, it's pretty low priority for me. Honestly, don't really care. She could work at Chick-fil-A, hook it up, you know, get me some chicken tenders. Like, I don't care. I really don't care. She doesn't need to match me socioeconomically. Yeah, doesn't bother me at all. So
I think most guys prioritize like beauty, fertility, youth, femininity over success and
low
ambition.
body count. That's another one.
Some guys don't care about that. A lot of guys care about that.
Yeah.
But I think those guys mainly prioritize those things over like ambition and financial success in women.
Why do you think that is?
Because
Like, what's like the disconnect? Because I think that women value ambition and success way higher than looks and that youngness, youth, like whatever. So what do you think the disconnect is? I mean, the difference.
So I would say that there are all sorts of asymmetries between what men and women find attractive. So, for example, men don't care so much about a woman's height. They certainly don't care if, I would say most men don't have a preference for a female partner being taller than them. But I would say most women have a preference for their male partner being taller than them. So that's an asymmetry there in terms of what men and women find attractive. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you another one.
Wait, can I answer her question? I don't think you answered it directly enough. To be honest.
I'm kind of getting at it, right?
Oh, okay.
A little bit.
Go ahead.
Well, so what your question is, why?
So my question is, why do men... Why? Okay, I guess it's just like, it's weird for me because like I just value like ambition and just kind of like having goals and just being a really driven person as like a huge priority to me. And you basically said that is not a priority to men.
No.
And I'm just curious as to why. And then I also have a second question.
So I have a very direct and simple answer to this question.
Perfect.
So I think when you have a guy that's like ambitious and he's confident and he's getting after it in life, like that kind of subconsciously signals to women like this guy's probably going to be successful. Mm-hmm. If a guy that you're with is going to be successful, I think there's like deep in your brain a part of you that realizes, okay, if I build a family with this guy, he's going to be able to provide for me and probably going to be able to protect me, right? Whereas guys, like, I'm not looking at a woman thinking, okay, is she going to be able to provide for me and protect me? Like, I look at a woman and I'm like, is she going to be able to carry my kids? Can I, have a bunch of kids with her? Is she going to have healthy pregnancies?
Is she gonna be loyal to me?
Is she going to be loyal to me?
Huge.
And like, I think like when a woman gets pregnant, like people talk about this with evolutionary psychology, right? Like if a woman gets pregnant, throughout a lot of history, that would be like a very vulnerable position to be in, right? Like if you're gonna get pregnant, you're gonna have a baby in your belly. If there's a predator, you're gonna be slower to get away from it. You're gonna need resources to sustain that pregnancy, right? And so you need to know, okay, my guy's gonna be able to provide for me, right? And if he's a guy who's like, you know, he's gonna be successful, you're gonna have a lot of confidence in that guy, right? Like that's attractive to you.
I have, for my second question, I'm actually genuinely just like really curious, like genuinely, because I've never really had this conversation with guys. What percentage of guys do you guys think the same as you, in the sense of like, you guys aren't as attracted to like the boss woman, like whatever, like go-getter,
It's a really
independent,
good
you know what I mean? Because I was thinking about it and I was like, I actually have no idea like what men think about this.
Okay, most guys, they will literally, their opinion will be based solely off of what they think will get women to sleep with them. That is the vast majority of men, I swear. That is it. So as far as like men's opinions, say what you're saying exactly.
Men. So I'm not talking about like hooking up, and I'm talking about like in a relationship with a woman that you want to get married to. What is the predominant thinking with men? Like, what do men think? Like, what does the majority of men think about like a woman that's like, you know, independent, makes her own money, doesn't really think about like, you know, the man being the...
Well, as far as finances go, it's very low priority. Of course, we don't want a woman who's got like $300,000 of debt, but we really don't care.
Youth and fertility. Biologically speaking,
low body count.
All dudes, low body count is very
fertility,
important for a lot of guys too. But youth and fertility, like this,
femininity.
This is why like tits and ass are so huge to guys, right? Like it's such a big priority for guys because
not fake ones though.
Yeah, not true. Like so many guys are attracted to a girl with, I think, in my opinion, so many guys are attracted to women with big boobs and big butts because it signals fertility, right? And like I think
small boob solidarity.
It's not something we like consciously think about. Like it's just our biology. Like when we see a woman with those things, we just like our body knows, okay, she can make kids for us. And I think we're like hardwired for that, you know?
Same thing with women, like in like tall jack dudes. You know what I mean? It's the same thing.
And that's not to say obviously that guys don't like women without big boobs or a big butt, but it's just like just our biological programming. And I think most guys, probably 90% plus of dudes, like they look at a woman's youth and her beauty and like that's what they immediately judge. And the financial success, ambition, that comes second.
Comes after.
Morals,
comes after.
I'd definitely say that like men will look at morals as well, along with femininity and beauty, fertility.
And I think like as you guys are mostly 20, right?
Yeah.
Like I think as you guys get into your mid 20s and stuff, like right now you're probably looking at dudes and you like the confident, energetic, like tall, handsome guys. But as you guys get into your mid 20s, you're probably going to really place a premium on like, okay, is this guy going somewhere in life? Because if you see a guy who's going somewhere in life, that's going to be very attractive to you guys.
I have a question for you. You say that like you're attracted to like youth and femininity. Do you think that means that like after your wife turns like 35, like you're not going to be attracted to her anymore because she's not going to be considered young and feminine?
That's a good question. So I think for a lot of guys, that's the case. I was telling them last time, this is a pattern that I've noticed with the older dudes at my gym who are all divorced. Like they a lot of these guys, like they started, you know, they married women that they started having sex with very quickly, and then once they got into their late 30s and into their 40s, they realized there's nothing really there beyond the physical attraction, and a lot of these dudes got divorced. For me, like, yeah, I want a wife who I'm physically attracted to, but like I want a wife who I have a really deep connection to, because I want to be cracking jokes with her on my porch when we're in our 70s, you know? Like I want to be talking about like books and movies and stuff like that. And I think a lot of people get into relationships where it's just purely based on the physical attraction, and that fizzles out after you're out of your 30s for a lot of people, you know? And so for a lot of guys, that's the case. But I think if you carefully pick your partner, you know,
and have a strong connection with them, then like the attractiveness wouldn't matter when you are 35. Because also like we both men and women age, right? So you have to be able to have that deep emotional connection so you
Yeah.
can continue a long relationship. Okay.
Exactly.
I got it.
And I think like if you find a great guy who you build a family with, like that love is going to evolve and transform, right? Like when you guys first meet, if you meet in your 20s, he's going to be really attracted to your physical beauty and all that stuff. But if you guys have kids together and you guys grow with one another, that love is going to transform from just being physical attraction into like, you guys have built a life with one another. You care about each other as individuals, and like you guys have raised kids into human being adults, you know, together. And like that's where you can build a lot more love off of. And I think that's what sustains people over the long run, you know?
I think though too that a lot of guys, you know, that would say be in their early like to mid 30s or so, they would, you know, try to look for a woman that's in her, you know, it's like, you know, 23 to like 26 or so, just because they've had more time to build themselves up, like as a man, get more resources, get more income, all that stuff, and then have like some of this, you know, younger and like more beautiful. Because I mean, there's no shortage of women that are like 35-year-old like wine drinking dog moms, you know, that just like hate everybody and say like, you know, absolute all men are just this, that way and the other, just because they've like warded off every single man, and then their beauty's kind of fading, versus somebody that's, you know, younger and, you know, more fertile.
And on that point too, Couch Potato Farm said if a woman stays disciplined, eating well and exercising, women will be attractive at all ages. That is like such an important point. There are like so many women out there. There's so many women out there who take like really good care of themselves. They eat the right foods. They stay on top of their exercise, and they are hot into their like 40s and 50s. And there's also
You mean
a lot
a
of
MILF?
women.
You could call them.
Oh yeah. I grew up in San Diego. There's a ton of those.
It just speaks, I mean, for you know, both genders, is like if you treat yourself like shit and you're just out just drinking fucking seltzers and like that's your hobby and just going out partying, all that stuff, you're gonna age way quicker than somebody who actually eats clean, takes care of their health, exercises. Like that goes for both men and women, like no doubt.
I have a follow-up question. If fertility is so important, would you not pursue someone who you click with on any other level or on every other level if they're infertile? Not because of their actions or drugs or alcohol, but they were born infertile. Would you not pursue them because of that?
It's a good question.
Well,
Jess.
if you, I guess it depends. If you want kids, that's probably a pretty big deal breaker. So it's just a non-starter if you want kids. But if a guy is open to not having kids, then
so
that's actually probably a good thing.
But can't you have kids in other ways?
No. So, Brain.
Okay, well, let's get into that next. Wow.
Adoption or
Brain
IVF.
said, "Yo, can you pull up Brain's super chat again?"
What?
Or Admed started with
What?
Brain. Yeah, he meant to type Brian. He said, "Brian, this podcast will never pop off until one guy tells the truth to these girls. Every single guy is so scared to talk the
What?
truth. Goodness me.
What are you talking about?
I'll spit. I know he's just throwing shade. I will say that my last girlfriend.
Wait, why did we bring that one up?
It was interesting, and I want to spit some hard truth. I want to spit some hard truth to these girls. My last girlfriend and I, we broke up because she was like super pro getting the vaccine. And are we about to get your channel taken down right now?
We're not, no COVID shit. We're not talking to COVID shit. Sorry, man.
F.
Just assume what he has to say. We're not going to talk COVID.
All right.
Sorry,
Read
man.
between the
Sorry,
lines.
Man. We'll get fucking YouTube.
I don't want to get Brian's channel nuked.
YouTube. By the way, I just want to make it clear, we got three guys here, but not all. We don't all have the same opinion on everything.
Oh, Brian
Let me
wants
just
to
say that.
speak.
Let me just say
He
that.
disagrees with my last point.
What about we're not going to talk about vaccines. We're not talking vaccines. Did you have something to say?
I thought she moved.
My
She-
ex?
what? Wait, you guys know?
You said at the beginning that you guys broke up because she moved to another country.
That was when I was. That was like 6 years ago or 7 years ago.
Okay, we're gonna get caught up on some chats here.
That was a different ex.
We're gonna get
That was
caught up
another
here
one.
on some chats. We got the American Network Against Labiaplasty, which is my nonprofit organization. Hashtag AllLabiaMatter. Facts. Thank you, my nonprofit organization, for that. Yeah. It's a real shame that women are shamed for their labia. Would you guys agree? Have you guys ever heard a guy shaming a woman if she had a large labia? Why are you giving me the death stare?
Well, no, I'm just saying that this is a first for me. But like, I mean, I appreciate like honestly the honesty too. Like I'm also aware too, like both you guys said you come from like Christian, like you guys are both Christian, correct?
Yeah.
So like I'm also taking into perspective that's your background. But I mean, definitely I'm very genuinely interested about your guys' perception. I'm going and like, thinking about that. And
I appreciate that.
yeah.
You really wanted to get off of the labia topic very quickly. Is there something you want to tell us? Have you been
just gonna leave it at that?
It's awkward, bro.
Have you been you've been thinking about? Okay, never mind.
I'm
Next
gonna leave
one.
it at that.
We have a comment from Stiffmeister here. He's here every week. Ask everyone to rate their looks on a scale of 1 to 10. If you insist, Stiffmeister. Okay, go ahead. Rate your looks
I
on a
give
scale of
myself
1
like
to 10.
a 7 or an 8.
Yeah, probably same.
That's such an odd question.
Stiff.
Just
it's
be
the
brutally
Stiffmeister.
honest.
Based on just looks, like
Just looks.
nothing
Just
to do with
looks.
Just looks.
7.5.
Yeah, 7 probably.
7.
8.5.
20. No, I'm just kidding. I think I'm like a 7.5, 8 on a good day.
6.9 on a good day.
Crying.
Andrew Tate says, I'm flying the brunette to Romania. Pack your bags. Well,
We have 2 brunettes
I mean-
here.
2 brunette. Well,
which
there's-
Mr.
she's
Tate?
kind of 3.
Andrew Tate, which one?
Yeah, we have 3 brunettes here. What? No.
Okay. So let's get caught up here on. We got so many super chats, guys. It's insane.
Let's do a speed round. Let's
So
do a
many
speed
of
round.
them.
Okay. I won't get through all of them, but oh my. Okay.
Is that 40? Do I see we have 40 super chats?
Yeah, we got
super
Edward.
chats.
Edward.
Dude, you're gonna need to up the amount of money people pay for us to talk about them.
Yeah, guys, 20 and up from now on, just because I'm sorry, guys, we just have way too many super chats, and we'll spend the rest of the show talking about it. So we're going to have to do a lightning round on the super chats.
Let's go 10 and up for now. Let's go 10 and up.
No, it is 10 and up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so 20 and up, guys, for super chats. Sorry, it's just we're getting blasted.
Market dynamics, supply and demand.
Okay, so let's see. I think we're on this one. Do they select unathletic men? Edward Scornfield, thank you, man. They couldn't lock down the athlete. Sorry, I keep bringing up athlete, but sexually, I think women want physically dominant man. Do they select because they?
I think
What
most
are you
women
thinking?
want a physically dominant man if he's the complete package. But if they can't get that, they're going to pick the next best option.
Most men that have options won't want to settle down because they have options.
Mm.
Yeah.
Edward Scornfield with the $10 super chat. If the past doesn't matter, should we just get rid of the judicial
That was,
system?
that was when we were talking about the white collar crime.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
That's a
we're
pretty sarcastic.
finally getting to these. Yeah, these came in like super early.
That's a pretty
If
sarcastic
the
one. I don't
past,
think we
should
need
we
to
just get rid
focus
of the
on that.
judicial system? Yeah, he's just chatting with us. Edward, thank you though so much for the support, man. If a man makes money doing dishonest
They
legal
already
things,
answered that too.
do you care? Mike Davis with the $10 super chat. What's up, Eddie? Nice to see another man here who isn't on welfare and has a few dollars to spend. Yeah, Mike Davis, there's some competition for you, man. There's some competition coming. Edward Scornfield, and yeah, I think he's also coming in for the roaster position too, it seems.
People in the comments
to
are
Nathan's
asking.
description.
People in the comments are asking who's
Nathan.
Jackie. Jackie's the one in green for everybody listening.
For everyone that
Okay.
wants to know. Hi.
Who's Nathan? Baha to Nathan's description. I'm not sure what. Okay, Ralph. How much is rent out there? So we are doing 10 and up, but I'll just answer really quick. It's like for a 1 bedroom, it's about low end. You're probably going to spend $2,000
Expensive.
for a one kind of crummy 1
I
bedroom.
mean, if you're just like splitting an apartment, you could spend like $1,400.
Edward Scornfield with the $10 super chat. Chase, I believe this is targeted towards you, bro. In all fairness, you're a trust fund baby with your looks.
Appreciate it. Thank
Chase, do you want to respond to?
I mean,
Nana?
dude, it's just a casual roast.
Okay.
Thanks for complimenting my looks, bro.
Mike Davis, Brian, instead of Craigslist, it looks like you got this pack of low-grade females from Backpage.
Oh shit!
For the streets.
Oh shit!
Okay, I want to open it up to the
That
ladies.
was funny. That was funny.
Do you have a response to Mr. Mike Davis?
Oh, wait, what?
Do you guys have a response to what he just said? He just called you a pack of low-grade females from Backpage.
Well, you know what, Mike? I don't even know what Backpage is.
I don't know.
So that just doesn't offend me. And by the way, Craigslist is great. People get their dogs on Craigslist. It's great.
Okay. Anything?
I mean, people are gonna hate, you know. That's why you're over there going and commenting instead of up here in front of the camera.
Oh,
so,
shit.
but like, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. Like everywhere you get, you're gonna get hate. You know, you could either take it or leave it. But at the end of the day, you should just like know who you are, you know, and respect yourself. So I'm not gonna really take any judgment from anyone else and like judge myself based off of, you know, some low-grade insults.
Okay. Mike Davis, there's still an open invitation for you to come on the show.
Ladies,
yeah.
do not take offense to it. He roasts everybody on the show.
Edward,
hey, he's the one paying to comment that. So
let's Edward Scornfield with the $10 super chat. If they say an effeminate man, it's because they're ready for a relationship. If they're getting slammed, they're going for the athlete. Athletes get all the fun. I mean, there's definitely some truth to that. Like, just for a hookup, you know, but for a relationship, guess maybe y'all want a man you can control a bit better, whereas like a player, he ain't gonna settle. So I get that.
We should keep moving.
Yep. Isn't it ridiculous? The attractiveness brings nothing to the table, but the betas keep taking it. There's a reason the MGTOW, and MGTOW is men going their own way. Movement is what it is. Okay. Edward Scornfield, thank you for the $10 super chat. Aham. Oh, okay. It's one of these gag names. Aham Gay? Yeah.
I am gay.
Yeah.
I am gay.
Yeah. I caught it.
That's funny.
Michael Literis got me last week, though. How important is a social media presence, image, in dating? I personally did not have an IG after giving it up, but it seems like that's a red flag. How important? Okay, so really quick around the table, guys.
That's a good question.
Go ahead.
I don't think it's important at all.
Based.
Wait, how important is presence in dating? Honestly, I prefer people who don't have a social media presence.
Wait, are we talking about like our presence or like?
No, his presence. Let's say you've got a dude. Would he be more attractive or less attractive if he had 100,000, 250,000 followers on Instagram?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, it definitely less attractive, but that's just coming from my standpoint of like getting like, I mean, I feel like I'd get jealous, you know, because like if he's attractive, like wouldn't there just be like hundreds and hundreds like of girls like messaging him and stuff, and like there's obviously temptation with that, you know. If you trust them 110%, then I wouldn't mind, but it's definitely a little.
It's a red flag.
I wouldn't say it's a red flag. It's just it's a little concerning.
Okay.
It's a little concerning.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good answer.
Yeah. I think I would actually like prefer maybe if they didn't have like that high of a social media, but honestly I don't know if it's like if the guys think about the girls, because I've seen a lot of people, like a lot of guys definitely do judge girls based off of their like Instagram feeds, maybe because like that's the initial look of them. So I want to hear about that for you guys, but a little bit more based off of that and kind of what you were on, and kind of even I don't know, like if like a guy is very very into his social media, maybe it could also be because like you said, like a lot of girls maybe like after that, because they have the ability to go and see, and they see like their attractiveness, and then they and then it's kind of like that first initial like based off of like their physical looks. So that's why, like, you know, for me in that perspective, like I personally would prefer a guy who's like not very big on social media too, because I guess it makes them, for me at least, it makes them seem a little bit more genuine, a little bit more grounded, and more into like them, instead of going and putting more effort into how other people perceive them.
Great answer.
I think when a guy doesn't have social media, they're mysterious. Like there's something a little sexy about that. I also think people are very different in person from what they are on their Instagram, and honestly it just provokes and encourages getting to know them in person, which I think is great. So
hold on, I want Kiki to come in really quick.
It's actually fascinating hearing your guys' answers, because you guys said almost the exact same thing that the last group of girls I spoke with said.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Can I like ask though, like what is guys' perception on it? Because I mean, especially right now, I'm not sure maybe if it's out there, but like sometimes it's difficult, maybe at UCSB, like sometimes it's difficult to find people who are relationships. So that's why you kind of like build this, it's this thing that you build the social media presence. So that way maybe you can go and find people that way. And then, for example, if you go and first meet someone, how's the best way that they can meet you? Oh, like here's my Instagram, maybe get to know you a little bit. Like, what's your guys' opinion on girls with like a good social media versus maybe one that's like not very active?
Do you want to start?
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, I'm trying to scale my business. So, like, I'm on social media, and when it follows me on social media knows, like, I'm pretty out there. I put, like, wild ideas out there, and I like to think that I'm funny.
He is funny.
But what I do like about social media is that you can tell a lot about somebody by social media. Like, now with our generation, with millennials and Gen Z, is that a lot of times we we put ourselves out there on social media. You can tell a lot about somebody. And so if somebody is, way out there and they're posting like wholesome content, stuff that's interesting, things that get you thinking, asking philosophical questions, like that's pretty great. But versus you look at somebody you look at their Instagram and they're just posting like booty pics and stuff like that, stuff that's just like obviously way out there for attention, immediately pretty much the gist of who they are. And so it's easy to tell that way,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, if a girl has a shit ton of followers on social media, that's like, we're talking hundreds of thousands, or even chicks with 12,000 or less. Like there's girls, even less than that. There's girls with like 5,000 followers. They'll get like pro athletes sliding into their DMs. Mm-hmm. That's dangerous, right? Like that's super dangerous. Chicks with hundreds of thousands of followers, like they're gonna have tons and tons of dudes hitting them up. And I mean, for me, like it sparks some of my insecurity, because I'm like, what if I'm with a girl and some amazing guy who's like super jacked and good looking and has a lot of money and a lot of social status, what if he slides into her DMs? The more followers she has, like it increases the chances of that happening. So it's like, it's something to worry about, but like you were saying, when you get to know a person, whether or not you can trust them in relation to that. It's also kind of exciting to me because I'm a professional photographer and I do marketing and stuff, and I work with people who have large followings. And if you find a good woman with a large following, like I would love to work with her. If I married her, I would love to work with her to like do brand work and stuff like that to make our family a lot of money.
I have a question too on that. Like, do you think maybe society's more being driven to like to kind of like look at girls with social media? Because I think that maybe like with social media, like there is also like that toxicity that comes into play that you kind of mentioned. Like it does, like if they have a lot of followers and a girl's like maybe, or a guy too, is so fixated on that, it can be a turnoff. But also, does social media help you find like initial perception or perspective about like who that girl is?
Big time.
Definitely. I mean, yeah, if you look at the guy's social media and he's just following like just a bunch of booty pic like type pages and stuff like that and whatnot, then like instant red flag.
But instead of like booty pics, like what I meant is like, how about a girl maybe who has 2 posts versus a girl who like maybe goes and posts a lot more, is a lot more active. Maybe she's like more philosophical, not doing it for like the booty pics, like in the attention, but like it's still has a major presence.
I get what you're saying.
It.
I'll say this. So we're talking about boys and men, right?
Okay, yeah, give me both.
We're talking about boys and men. You've got the boys who just want to hook up with chicks. Mm-hmm. If you're a girl with a profile full of booty pics and all that stuff, he's not going to care. I'm in a place in life where I'm looking for a wife, right? If I go to a girl's Instagram and it's just a ton of thirst trap photos, booty pics all over the place, instant red flag, I'm like, nah. Mm-hmm. But if I go to a girl's page, let's say she has 1,000 posts, but she's posting about interesting stuff and stuff that's meaningful to her, like maybe some of that will resonate with me, right? Maybe I'll look through some of her stuff. Like I personally love girls with convictions and like strong opinions about things that's going on in the world. If I see a girl with like interesting opinions and they align with like what I think, and she's posting that on her social media, that's a huge green light for me, right? I don't care if she has a billion posts, or if she's posting pictures of herself and she looks beautiful, but she's not like, her ass isn't hanging out and she's not like thirst trapping. Like that's not a big deal to me either. Like I love finding beautiful women on Instagram who are like classy and they're not thirst trapping. Like that's a cool thing to see a woman do,
Yeah, I'll give my take on this too. So there's definitely tiers to it. So if she's got just thirst traps, a bunch of booty photos, booty pics, bikini pics, to me it's I don't feel, it varies. It varies. If her Instagram is private versus if it's public, it's a factor. I mean, once you're in a relationship, I don't know. To me, it's kind of, I would prefer if my girlfriend was not posting thirst traps on
'cause
Instagram.
You don't want her sharing
Because-
everything with the world. You know?
Yeah, and I think men and women, we also flirt differently. So I want to really quick go around the panel. Is it cheating if you're in a relationship with a guy and he likes another girl's Instagram photo? Let's say it's a bikini pic.
No.
It's not cheating, but
I
is
don't
it
think
But
like a red flag?
would you take issue with it?
No. I mean, like if they're just like mindlessly liking things, I wouldn't really care.
I would look at the other pictures that they've liked, and if it's consistent bikini photos, then I mean it's not cheating. But if it's like one, okay, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I think also depends like how jealous kind of like the girl can get, you know, because sometimes you guys went and said you don't want girls posting booty pics because you don't want her showing everything. Like you kind of like want it to be a little bit more like just for you, kind of like you went and said about like the hookups, like the less body count, the better, because it's something that's almost like you guys can connect with, or it's just like you kind of have for your own, you know? And I think it's kind of like that too. If a guy is going and liking every single picture, like for me, it might go and spark a little bit of, I don't know, a little jealousy.
No way. Is this true, ladies? No bullspit just said, I just checked out all the girls' Instagrams and they are all booty pics and bikini pics. Is this true, ladies?
Well, who are they talking about?
All of you. All of you.
I mean, it is Santa
It's
Barbara.
okay. I'm not judging.
Okay, I have a question. Okay. So let's just say a girl posts bikini pictures, right? But the motive behind it isn't to like thirst trap or to like, I mean, not a lot, like just like a couple, right? The motive behind it isn't to thirst trap. It's because she's genuinely happy and feels confident about her body. Maybe she works out a lot, or like she's just really proud of,
I like that.
you know, how she looks and her body.
Yeah.
Do you still think that that's a red flag or something that's kind of like looked down upon?
Good question.
No, I don't personally. Like there's a balance, right? So like I follow this one girl on Instagram, and she's like a fashion influencer. Most of her posts are like her adventures or the different outfits that she's wearing, stuff like that. And then every like 15 posts, you know, she'll throw a bikini picture in there. And it'll be a tasteful one. Like she's not like, it's not like one of the ones where it's like, look how juicy my ass is. It's it's elegant. You know what I mean? I personally like that. That's different from like, there's a lot of girls out there, every single photo is like a bikini pic showing off all the goods. That's like a totally different thing. I don't like that.
It's very clear when women want attention versus just like posting content, for sure. Very clear.
Oh, so sorry.
Go for it.
I actually was like talking with my friend Jess, and this is something that's very interesting, is that at least at UCSB, I know we're not going to generalize like schools and stuff, and I don't want to keep it there, but it's very common for girls to go to parties, and like it will be like very cold at night, and they'll wear like, you know, skimpy outfits, and that's very normalized here. And yet when Jess and I kind of like we're talking to a lot of our guy friends recently, we found out that they actually found that almost as like a turnoff. What's your guys' opinion on that?
Like overly skimpy outfits, like to me that's a turn off, because that's just like screaming for attention. It's just like, hey, like look at my body, this is what I have to offer. To me that's a turn off.
Yeah, I mean, like I think like the super tiny skirt, like if you're posting images of yourself in like a super tiny skirt and like, you know, tiny little crop top, and you're showing off all the goods, like that basically signals, hey, I want to get banged, right? Like I'm going out tonight to meet some guys, and like I'm trying to go home with one, right?
Who has what to offer me?
What?
Yeah. Like who has what to offer me?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, basically. Like it's basically advertising like, hey, I'm available, like, you know, come at me, right? Like that's a turn off. It just like there's a way to show off your beauty and who you are as a woman and what you have to offer without giving everybody all the goods and kind of like looking like a slut. You know what I mean? Like there's ways to do it, you know? Got
it. Why do you think that, like, I don't know, just kind of in all, what I've noticed, like traveling, I mean, along different college campuses and just young people in general, Do you think like maybe sometimes it's such a normalized thing that people feel pressured to do it, not because they're screaming for attention, but because it's almost kind of like a, well, I'm not going to fit in if I don't wear a shirt that's showing my whole tit, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people feel that.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. When I was in college, like all the girls were trying to post the hottest pictures all the time, and they were trying to meet the cutest guys and stuff, and it changes once you're out of college, you know?
Thank gosh. Seriously.
Change the culture though.
Right. It's all about
Real.
the culture.
Like,
All about
any
the
of your
culture.
friends that are in your sororities or ever like dressing like that, like, why are you dressing like that? Like, what are you trying to get out of that?
No, I don't think we should control
I
what
think-
other people wear. or
No,
dress
just
up.
ask. Just ask. Just plant the seed. Like, why are you doing that?
I feel like
Do
that
it.
in itself is disrespectful to ask somebody why
That's
they're
okay.
wearing what they're wearing.
So, I mean,
It's okay.
unrelated to that is just as far as if someone's wearing revealing clothing, I think you're totally free. You should wear whatever you want. Me personally, I think my preference, and I think a lot of guys' preferences, I think we would prefer to, as far as taking a woman seriously for a long-term relationship, I think we would prefer a girl who dresses more modestly. Like, also me personally, I don't go out, I don't party, I don't go to bars, I don't go to clubs, I rarely drink, not a big drinker, so I'm not really out in those environments a whole bunch to begin with. But like for me, if she was even just going out Friday, Saturday, consistently every weekend, I'm probably that's not the type of girl that I'm going to take seriously for a long-term relationship. I'm an outlier though. Like, I very rarely drink. I fucking hate bars. I hate clubs. I don't like parties. I'd rather masturbate with sandpaper, quite frankly, than go to some thing with with the grit. You know, the grit strength, very strong.
I have a question.
I just
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
Go
off.
ahead.
So I'm just going to take me and Hannah, for example. If Hannah and I were to wear the exact same shirt, not to call you out, Hannah, you have much bigger boobs than I. And let's just say the shirt, I look more modest in it. And Hannah, because she happens to have bigger boobs, she's wearing the exact same shirt. Would you see, and answer honestly, would you see her differently versus how you would view me at a party? If we were wearing the same exact shirt. But,
this is directed
or
towards me.
just any of you guys.
I don't
Like,
think
I'm
guys
just-
would give a shit. We don't care. I've never
I don't
cared.
think
Even
I
if
would
her
depend on
boobs
the
are,
it would depend on the shirt.
bulging out and mine are like not, for example.
Wait,
Well,
wait,
it depends on the shirt.
You said you guys are both wearing the same shirt, but it's revealing your bodies differently?
Yes. Would you see her as more trying to go out for attention versus me being more modest? Even though we're wearing the exact same shirt, exact same outfit, would you view us differently?
I mean, I'll be honest, I make judgments about like how there's chicks that wear shirts where their tits are just like popping out, and I'm like, all right, you're trying to get some dick tonight, like, and you know, there's a lot of guys that are into that, and they're gonna see that and they're gonna try and smash, and then there's gonna be dudes that are turned off from it. You know, you're also asking guys that are in a different stage of their lives than like college dudes. Like a lot of college
Very
dudes are
true.
gonna be all over that. You know, if I see that, I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Like I personally, I want to be with a woman who doesn't share everything that she has with the entire world. You know, like I want that to be special for me, you know?
So when you were our age, like when you were like 20, 21, like a little bit younger, would you say that like when you were in college, would you say that you didn't look down upon that stuff when you were in college?
Yeah, when I was 18, like I knew the girls that I wanted. I didn't really care what they were wearing. There were girls that wore, like on Halloween, for example, very slutty
Halloween,
costumes.
Yep.
Yeah, there were girls that wore very slutty costumes, and like when I was 18, I didn't care, right? When I was like 21, 22, I started to look at it differently.
Got it.
Because at that point, I'd had like a serious relationship, and I knew like I'm not just trying to hook up with chicks willy-nilly like I was when I was younger. I want like a serious girlfriend. And I don't
So it
want
comes
her-
with maturity.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
comes with
Yeah, when-
being more mature.
Yeah, when I was younger, I mean, I had my couple nights out in IV here and there.
Oh, yeah.
And a couple here and
Couple.
there. Even though back then, even when I was younger, I was never into drinking, not super into partying, but I'd go out a bit. And yeah, I'd see a girl if she's just hot. She was hot. Like, to me, it's not so much I'm like super judging them. I think you should dress however you want. You're free to do it. Just for me, it is a bit of a judgment call, because for a long-term relationship, and you know, there's girls closer to my age, I'm 33, that are, you know, mid 20s, late 20s, early 30s. They're still at the club Friday, Saturday, and to me, I'm probably not gonna take her seriously. If she's willing to stop, if she's in a relationship with me, but I'm probably like, if she's not gonna stop, then there's no way. If it's predetermined on a Friday or Saturday night, she's going to a bar or club, that's a wrap for, like, I'm not gonna pursue that.
We feel the same about that.
And it's, part of that is just, it's also just, I don't go to bars and clubs. So I'd want like a similarity there with my partner.
I have a question with
Go
that.
ahead. Sure.
I'm just interested because I think it's cool and unique that you aren't like, most of the other population that goes out to bars and clubs. So what's your reasoning behind not wanting to do those things?
There's a couple reasons. So
It's a very good question.
It is. I was
yeah.
like, wow,
so
that's really interesting.
and this was even, I went out a bit when I was younger, but I was never like Friday, Saturday, every night, let's get tanked. When I did drink, it would be 1 or 2 drinks max typically. There's like maybe, I can probably less than 5 times I've been properly drunk. Proper drunk. Never blacked out or anything like that. And so I've been to bars and clubs and parties and all that stuff. But the reason is that, well, there's a few. One, I'm more introverted, and it's super hectic. There's a lot of people. It's very loud. It can be so loud that you can get permanent hearing loss when you go to one of these super loud nightclubs or bars. They blast the volume, and I don't know if any of you have been in a scenario and loud party, loud club. You have ringing in your ear for a little bit afterwards. That can actually be permanent damage. It's called tinnitus. So that's one of the reasons.
All right, Brian, I'm never going out again. Never going out.
But the other reason, there's people smoking. People are super drunk. The drinks are incredibly expensive. To me, it's super loud. You can't even have a conversation with someone. So, and I don't dance. I don't dance any better than a kangaroo. So
Never?
No,
Never?
I hate dancing. I
Oh.
refuse to dance.
Oh.
I will not dance. Well, I'm not getting married, so I refuse to dance. Well, let me just finish this. But let me see. The other reasons, drinking is just incredibly expensive. And then there's just the threat of violence at bars and nightclubs, which is it's a risk for women, but it's a much greater risk for men. I'm sure you guys have seen people getting their fucking face smashed in Isla Vista.
Yeah.
My first night ever out in Isla Vista, I saw a guy get slashed in the face with a knife.
Damn.
My freshman
I've seen some crazy shit.
Are you serious?
I've seen some
serious.
crazy
Was he
shit.
okay?
No, he had to go to the hospital.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Literally
there's
cut
some weird
across the
stuff
face.
around here.
When people drink, and a lot of these guys aren't getting any, they're angry. Like, people just get into fights.
Yep.
People are drunk, so it's a safety thing. I've seen people get stabbed on State Street at the bars. I've seen a lot of shit, and I've seen it firsthand. So to me, a lot of shit goes down, and like a lot of violence, not fights, like violence goes down.
So we have some people pissed that we're not getting to the super chats.
Yeah,
Also, my buddy
Guys, we'll get to the super chats,
Schaefermeister
guys.
just dropped a super chat. I was wondering if we could get to that.
I don't.
He's up at the top.
Yeah,
He's
we'll
the
get-
dude, the
well,
dude
we'll-
at the top.
Let's try to get through it.
$30.
I don't even think. Yeah. Let's get some super chats going here.
My buddy Jordan said, wait, pull that back up. Pull that back
That
up.
one was a good
All
one.
right.
My buddy
Why don't you
Jordan
read it?
said, Chase is an absolute skill guy. Thank you, brother. You're a skill guy too. Takes a skill guy to know a skill guy. Question for you all. What do you think about looking through your significant other's phone? Is it okay to do, and how would you feel if they said no?
Quick
Love you,
answers,
bro.
guys. Quick answers.
Love
Go
you too,
ahead.
dog.
I don't think it's okay, no.
I don't think it's okay.
And have you ever?
No.
I have, but I don't think it's okay. I've only done it once.
I don't think it's okay unless you have like a really, really valid reason to do it. But by really valid, I don't mean like a suspicion. I mean like just, I don't know, like you like caught them cheating and you want to see if it's been persisting. So I'm saying no, it's not okay unless it's warranted.
I'm going to say no, it's not okay because in a relationship, I'd want trust and, both mutual. So
I agree, but if there is a warranted reason, then that's valid. I mean, I have nothing to hide, so.
Yeah, if there's a warranted reason to, you probably shouldn't be there in the first place. Like,
I have a
if
story on
it
this.
got to the point where like, hey, I need to look through this person's phone, it's probably over, and you probably already know what you need to know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Chase.
I disagree with doing it, but like you guys said, if you catch your significant other doing some shit and you have like hard evidence that they're doing something, it's worth looking into. But like, there's a lot of neurotic people out there who are like, let me look through your phone, and like, I think that's like just awful and like terrible.
I'm going to answer this really quick because I have an interesting one on this. Eric, can you just stand up really quick and just hit the autofocus button on this camera? Hold it for like a second. Do you know which button it is?
Zavi firing shots, dude. Zavi said, my man in the gray wants to leave the household because he's insecure in his manhood.
It's the circle button. Wait,
What a cock.
did you get it?
Zavi,
Maybe I shouldn't have done that.
I want to lead my household because we're
You
in
got
a
it?
spiritual war.
Are you pressing the right one? Okay, that's fine.
We're in a spiritual war, and Eve was the one that ate of the apple first.
All right,
Did you have
so
a dad?
to answer the question, I actually had an experience. The first time I hung out with the girl, she looked through my phone.
Nice.
The first time
way.
she came. Well, I met her out, and then she came over to my place, hooked up, and then she looked through my phone. And I went to the bathroom, you know. So that's when she looked at it. I came back and she was pissed because she saw the shit that was on the phone. And then I kicked her out because I was like, the fuck.
Damn
And then I
right.
dated her for 5 years. Okay, so don't do that, guys.
Oh wow. Was that a joke?
I'm dead
was
serious.
that a joke?
I'm dead serious. She's
Can,
crazy as
can you
fuck.
just really quickly the logic behind the dating for 5 years after her checking your phone?
Well,
Were you just
I
really
kicked her
attracted to
out,
her?
and then she apologized, and I was like, it was a very sincere apology.
How
very
sincere
sincere.
can you be?
And then she did that shit like probably a dozen more times. I broke up with her a dozen more times. This is not the norm for me, but it was an on again, off again
She
relationship.
was that hot,
She was
huh?
hot. She was hot, huh?
She must have been
incredibly
bomb.
hot, and she
Yep.
had BPD and
Well,
borderline personality disorder. So she was crazy and hot, and that's all I'm gonna say. Okay, next super chat. Mike, by the way, guys, don't date women with BPD.
wasn't planning on it.
We need Mr. Organic to roast the girl in the brown, Cammie, about what she brings to the table. Pull up the clip, Brian. I don't. You know what, Mike Davis? We don't have the clip. I'm sorry. Sorry, buddy. Okay. Oh, well, fine. We'll do this one. By the way, just remember 20 and up, guys. Well, I know this came in.
Dude.
This came in when it was 10
Guys,
and up. But
genuinely no.
blonde in the green on Seeking Arrangements. Have you ever been on Seeking Arrangements?
I have never been. You know what? Is it possible for someone to take your picture and put it on there? Because
Yes.
that has
Yes.
happened to me multiple times. Like Instagram
picked
accounts.
yours.
Instagram accounts have been made of me where it's not me, obviously, but my Instagram posts are all on this like Instagram, and it's like follow me, like OnlyFans, like whatever, and I'm like, what? I'm like, what in the
That
world?
sucks.
So I might be on there, but it wasn't for me.
She could be.
That's kind of a flex,
Mike Davis with the $5 super chat takes shot every time pink checkered girl says like rip roasted.
That's a good one. That was a good one.
We got Shaheen Koini with the $5 super chat. White shirt, sorry, don't know your name. Maybe you'd like to sacrifice 5 years of your career if you want kids. Okay, we gotta get through these. My man in the gray wants to lead the household because he's insecure in his manhood. Edward Schoenfield, $10 super chat. Outside of indoctrination, how do these women rationalize their sexual preference relating to tall men?
I feel like there's a lot of frustration coming from Edward Scornfield. I feel like he's projecting some of that frustration onto women.
Be nice though, because he's our patron.
He's a good dude.
He's funding the podcast.
Yeah, Edward, dude, we really appreciate the questions, but like, I don't feel like women have to rationalize their sexual preference relating to tall men. Like, I don't know. I mean, he did ask. Do you guys want to answer that question?
So I guess is the question, why are you attracted to tall men?
why are you attracted to tall men?
You can't control what you're attracted to.
In the same way that men are attracted to women with a low body count. But okay, why do you like... You can't control.
It's not the same thing, but
Well, I think
your
one of
point
them
stands.
stems from like a fundamental thing, and then the other one just
Body
is like
count?
biology.
Wait,
I think
which
both are
one?
biology.
Which one is which?
No,
Yes.
I don't agree. I think one is a social construct and the other is a physical trait.
Height is a social construct.
one of the points.
No, that's a physical
Height is a physical
it's
trait.
not a social
Body
construct.
count. It is.
It's not.
It is.
This is something.
It is.
This is something. Okay, I understand your
I'm
point.
on her side.
This is something that has been valued throughout all of human history in almost every culture that's ever existed, and the reason why, Andrew Tate has made this point, and I think it's a very valid point.
Wait, 1 second.
Hold on. It's a very valid point, okay? One of the reasons why virgins have been prized throughout human history. Hold on.
Let's not get into this.
Hold on. One of the reasons.
No, let's go into it.
One of the reasons.
No. Bad timing.
What he has to say.
Wait,
Yeah,
don't,
please. I want to
don't
hear.
what?
I want to hear what you have
Wait,
to say.
virgins? What?
Why are
Wait.
you guys so triggered by this?
Should we play the video?
Wait.
One of the reasons why is because if you have a woman who's a whore and she's sleeping with hundreds of dudes, relax. It's okay.
Call women whores.
Yes,
Wait, what?
yes,
Yeah,
you
we
can.
can.
Yes, you can.
Yes, we can.
Because there's a lot of women
Well,
out there who are whores.
And there's
Wait.
even more men out there that are even bigger whores.
You're right.
Well, there
You're
are.
not wrong.
But
there-
whores is a
You're right.
derogatory term,
That's
in
okay.
my opinion.
And that's
One
okay.
that should be
No,
used.
but there are. Hold on. There are literally whores, like women who.
Identify themselves as whores?
no,
that,
women
that
who prostitute.
prostitute.
Yeah.
So how
So
would
there-
you define whore?
Okay.
Well, there's a hoe.
Chicks that are ran through. Chicks that have slept with 50, 100, 150.
So what would define?
Sorry,
what
Eric.
would the number be though? Because if a girl has slept with 20 guys, right? Would she be a whore?
It's going to be different for every guy.
Or-
It's going to be different for every guy.
If she did it within a month of losing her virginity, yes.
That's a lot.
That's-
That's
that's-
basically
Okay,
one
so
per
you
day.
you just said it's a lot.
have.
You just said
No,
it's a
it's not.
lot, right?
That's a fact. I mean,
So you acknowledge.
In my personal standards, yes, but maybe in other people's standards, it might not be.
20 people
yeah,
in the
I mean,
first.
most dudes are going to look at a woman who slept with 20 guys in a month, and they're going to think that she's a whore. Probably
Okay.
99% of dudes.
Yeah, I would not date a woman that's.
The original point, though, about why virginity was something that was important throughout human history, is because if you have a woman that's sleeping with a bunch of dudes, let's say you get her pregnant, right? You're not going to know who got her pregnant. She might say that you got her pregnant, and it might have been another guy that got her pregnant. And this is why chastity is something that's been so prized throughout human history. And before there were DNA tests, there was no way to tell who the father was of a child. Okay, and so this is why is it a social construct? Yes, but
It's evolutionary.
Is it a social construct that has extreme value? Absolutely.
I have to disagree with you on this one. I think that if you're going to bring up virginity and that whole thing in history, I think that it stems from the patriarch and men wanting to own women and possess her.
The patriarchy.
Yes.
Okay, hold on. Now you have to tell us what the. You
Yeah,
have to
what is
now
that?
articulate.
A society built by men for men.
Articulate what the patriarchy is.
A society built by men for men. And
So-
that's
and do you
why
believe-
that's why it was fine for a man not to be a virgin. Sure, you can say pregnancy, whatever, but nobody cared about a man's chastity. Nobody cares about it now.
Well,
Nobody
actually,
cares.
I think
absolutely
that's wrong.
absolutely not true.
For Christianity.
For the past 2,000 years, people have absolutely cared about male chastity. It's been
Who?
less highly.
Well, I have a question. then.
Western civilization for the past 2,000 years has been a Christian civilization, and in cultures that have been Christian, they absolutely value male chastity. Now that's not the norm. That hasn't been the norm, but it's not fair to say nobody cares about it.
Chase, let me just have a. I want to have a little
Okay,
back
go
and
for it.
forth here on the patriarchy. Okay,
Let's
so
do this.
you said that the patriarchy is. Just repeat it again. What is the patriarchy?
A society built by men for men.
And historically, you're asserting that was something that historically existed or persists till today.
I think that there are definitely still undertones of it in society today because it existed first.
So it's a society built by men for men.
Mhm.
So how?
What do you mean how? Men have been
Articulate
in
how.
power for centuries. Men built this country. Like
Which
women
men?
have never had the founding fathers.
founding
all
fathers
the
of America.
presidents.
Why
There's never-
hasn't there been a society built by
Because
women for
people
women?
have thought that women are too emotional to take charge. Like people have always said that a woman can't be president because she's too emotional. That has been like that was what people thought. You can read things about it. You can look at historical documents.
But what does their gender have to do with it?
It's the attitudes that have been reflected onto women for years.
So do you disagree with the idea that on average women tend to be more emotional than men do?
Wait.
Yes, yes, I've dealt
Really?
with some men that act like toddlers.
Some men. Okay.
Some
A
boys.
majority, yes.
Some boys.
Okay, but you can say.
Can-
why are
can you give
saying
us-
Are you saying that you think women are on average more emotional?
Absolutely.
In my
Absolutely.
experience, yeah, they're definitely more emotional.
There's no
Yeah.
question about it. There's no question about it. The most emotional.
I'm not
people-
gonna. I have no comment on that
The
one.
most. The most. I grew up with a mother and a grandmother who were extremely emotional people.
Let me have a back and forth though on patriarchy here.
All right.
So you've asserted that the patriarchy exists to this day. I need you to give me a few reasons how or why.
Are you disagreeing that there's a patriarchy?
I do, but I'm
You disagree with that statement?
There's a
You have to define it.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Define
Hannah.
A
You have to
society
define it.
built by men for men.
Okay,
I will
you've
say
defined.
it again and
No,
again.
hold on.
Okay, but
You've-
our
let-
society-
hold on. You've defined it. You've defined it. But you have not provided evidence
Well, I haven't
for
been
its
given
existence.
an opportunity to.
I'm opening it up to you, please.
Well, recently, I know you two are probably going to have an opinion about this. Roe v. Wade was overturned.
That
So-
actually created an equality between men and women.
How? Because men are the ones being punished. Like a man can. Okay, do you realize that?
Men have zero reproductive rights.
Okay, yeah, but men also
And
can
it pushed it
impregnate as
down to
many
the
women
states.
as they want.
Wait.
Whereas women can only get pregnant once in 9 months. Men can impregnate thousands of women in 9 months, and they're not the ones that are being punished, and they're not the ones that are stuck to being carried to term with the baby and
men
supporting
are.
a whole nother life.
If a man doesn't want a child, he can certainly be punished.
What do you mean by that?
Child support.
If a
Man,
man,
a
doesn't
man
want
does
child.
not have a choice in either scenario. If a woman wants to keep it and he wants to get rid of it, he doesn't have a choice. If she wants, what is the and the inverse is true too.
I think we should rewind for a second. You just used Roe v. Wade as an example of the patriarchy.
Yes.
I know
gosh.
more women that support the overturning of Roe v. Wade than I know men.
That's probably because of
That's
like,
also
the community
because
you're
of your
part of.
background.
You're right, it
Yeah.
is. But this isn't just a symbol of the patriarchy. This is the overturning of Roe v. Wade. This isn't just a male-dominated
Okay.
thing. Okay, Amy Coney Barrett also voted to overturn it. Okay,
That's a good point. That's a good
Those-
point.
that is
Those
she
are
is she
religious
the
women.
patriarchy?
Okay, but here's the thing, is that you cannot tell somebody what they have to do with their body. You can't tell me that I need to go have a kid right now if I get pregnant. Like, you cannot tell me what to do with my body medically. I don't agree with that.
Okay.
I simply don't.
Okay, and I don't think
This is
that-
going to get heated.
I don't think that a
get
woman
very
has
heated.
the right to murder the child that she chose to create through sex.
Okay,
But
maybe
what if
we
she
shouldn't
was
be talking
raped?
about this. Maybe
Yes.
this
No,
is
no, no, no.
Yes.
What if she was raped? Because she had no
That's-
choice in that.
That's a good question. That's less
back to
than
the patriarchy.
Hold on, everybody. This is an important question. It's a really important question. Okay, that is less than 1% of abortions. 95% of abortions are abortions of convenience, and what that means is women had consensual sex and they decided after the fact that they just didn't want to keep the child. Okay, that's different from rape. And in cases like that, this isn't somebody forcing a woman to have a child.
Yes, it is. That
this
is
a woman-
literally what it
no,
is.
Sex has consequences. And when you have sex, you are risking the possibility of conceiving a child. Are you not?
I
So-
agree with that, but I feel like you cannot force somebody to do something with that is the main point of this. You cannot force somebody to do something with their body that they do not want to do.
Okay.
I don't know how much we want to talk about the abortion issue just because it's very
I think it's a fruitful discussion. I think this is an important
It is
discussion.
I think
for
it
our
is-
culture.
I think it is
I think
important.
This is extremely important.
I'll just give my take. I don't want to give my take
No,
No,
I
give
think
your
you
take.
should.
on abortion.
We wanna hear your
I
take,
wanna hear your
Brian.
take.
So, as it okay, it's a kind of nuanced take though. It's going to take me at least 2 minutes to explain it.
We would love to hear it.
Okay, so the arguments of people who are pro-life are not so easily dismissed. However, I would say that I'm probably going to lose some viewers, whatever I say. I would say I'm pro-choice, but I would say that just abortion is clearly wrong. It's clearly wrong, but not everything that is wrong should be illegal. So, and this is kind of where I get into crazy territory. I think that we should be, and this is, I think, maybe me running the center too much. We need to develop an artificial womb. That way both sides can be happy. If a woman wants to get an artificial womb, so y'all can, if you want an abortion, you can get it, but the baby can survive. That is the compromise I think is fair. And I also think we should have honestly, I think we should have free birth control. I think we should have robust sexual education, and I think people should stop fucking around so much. That's what I think.
That's
Wait,
weird.
hold on.
I have a question.
People need to
You
take
guys.
accountability for their actions. Straight up. Right there. Take
Amen.
accountability
Amen.
for their actions. Also,
Yep.
I guess in a way I would say I'm pro-choice because, like, look, if you guys want to kill your bloodline off and totally, like, knock off any of your, any personal responsibility, fucking go for it. But it's wrong. Like, there's no way that you can morally say, like, if you were to let that kid grow up, like, in your womb, it's going to pop out, and in 18 years, 19 years, 20 years, it'd be sitting across the table just like we are. It's wrong. If you guys want to go do that, that's your prerogative. But there's no getting away from it that that's wrong, that's a human being, and that people should take responsibility for their actions.
I
have a
respect that
question.
you think that.
I'm
but
gonna run
I
the
respect
center.
that you also respect people's choice.
I think that it's wrong, but people are going to make their own decisions.
I want to just run the center a little bit here. I think what I don't like to I know you want to come in here, Chase. I don't like to see either side straw manning the other side. I think the pro-choice side makes a bodily autonomy argument, and then the pro-life side, the thing that you have to, the thing that you're going to, the argument that you're going to have to make to convince pro-lifers to be pro-choice is you're going to have to convince them that upon conception, that's not a life. You're going to have to, because they genuinely think that it is a life at conception. They think that that's a life worth protecting, and they believe it's murder. So you're going to have to convince them that it's not murder. That's the challenge you're up against. It's not about controlling women's bodies. It's not even a religious thing, because there's many atheists who are pro-life. So I'm just trying to run center here. That is what you're up against when you're talking to someone who's pro-life. These guys can make arguments that aren't based in religion.
Okay. Sorry. Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
I also have something I want to say too. You can go first, but I just want to make it known. I have something I need to say about this. Please go ahead.
Okay. It's just frustrating that you keep on interrupting people. But
I've been interrupted like 20 times
just
in this
interrupted
conversation.
me.
It's
Okay,
a
again,
conversation.
again,
It's
okay.
fine.
Go ahead.
Anyways, I was gonna say, like, I do think, like, whatever. Like, I think that it could be argued that it's a life. Like, technically, it's zygotes, and, like, I don't know. Like, when you masturbate, you're killing babies.
No,
It's a
that's
bit
not true.
different.
Okay,
It is a
well,
bit
Very different.
It's like, they're not like sentient yet. Like, I don't know. It argues like
It's a
that's
good
not
point.
that's not the argument.
good
But
point.
basically, I'm just trying to say, like, I respect people's religions, but I don't think that, like, religious people, just because they have a religion, I don't think that gives them the right to, like, tell people to, like, make rules based on this religion. Like, it's
Okay.
not uniform, you know?
You're right. And I completely agree with that as a Christian. Okay. And a big part of this discussion for me isn't like pushing my Christian beliefs on the rest of society. Obviously, there's a motivation there as a Christian because of what I believe and what Brian was saying about life at conception. Part of this, though, is about the physical pain that's caused to unborn children in second and third trimester abortions.
I agree that I don't think that
Okay.
abortions should. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Those also account for a very low percentage of abortions. then.
You're right.
It's the same argument that you made when you were like 95% are not rape cases. You can apply that to this as well. So I don't think that that's an argument we should discuss.
Wrong, because you said you don't have the right to tell people what to do with their bodies. And there's a lot of people in this country who believe I should be able to have abortions all the way up until, the day of delivering the child. Okay.
Even post
I
having a
don't
child.
think so. Most of the reason that
There-
people get
no,
abortions
this is-
is
there's-
because they don't want to go through pregnancy.
There's laws being passed in the country to legalize this. This has already been legalized in different states, okay? And so for me, part of this discussion, I use that example of late-term abortions because part of this discussion is you're saying women say it's my body, it's my choice. You have no right to tell me what to do with my body.
Someone get London.
Women say it's my body, my choice. You have no right to say what women do with their body, right? Okay. I also don't think anybody has the right to harm an unborn child, to murder it, to do anything like that. And that child, that being, doesn't have a say in this conversation. And this country specifically was founded to secure life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for every American. But we're not doing that for Americans in the womb. Everybody's just saying that they're not people. People were pressuring my mom to have her abort me. because she conceived me out of wedlock, and I wasn't going to have a dad in my life. They pressured my mom to abort me. I never had a say in the conversation. Thankfully, she kept me, but if she had aborted me, I wouldn't be here. And I'm a person, right? Like, who's speaking up for these unborn kids? No, nobody. Everybody, you guys just look at them like they're not even people.
A lot of people are, because Roe v. Wade just got overturned. So I think a lot of people are speaking up for them.
Yes, we all are. Yeah. But you guys think that you guys just have the right to do whatever you want to these unborn people. And I think that's wrong.
I feel like I have the right to do anything I want to my body.
But do you have the right to do anything you want to another person's body?
I don't believe it's another person's body if it's living inside me.
Why?
Because it's inside. I think it's kind of like a parasite. It's literally growing off of me.
What about you taking responsibility for like what you did?
Yes.
For what?
If you
Like, how about that?
consensually
Because I
have
had
sex,
sex?
you chose to create a human being. It's not a parasite, it's a human being.
Okay, wait. I would like to ask you a question, Chase, just out of curiosity. So you mentioned and you shared, and thank you for sharing, that like your mother was pressured to get an abortion, correct? And
Yeah.
you were happy and you grew up happy from what I've seen, or just what you've told me. What about the millions of kids who are born and have no family, thrown into the system, grown up in dangerous situations? Do you think that, just out of curiosity, I'm not saying like whether I agree or disagree, but like, do you think that they should still be brought into this world if they're put in dangerous situations?
It's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
It's a complex question, obviously. What I know is that there's a lot of people in America who want to adopt kids. And it's often very difficult and very expensive to adopt kids because of, I don't know, whatever fucked up system we have created here. What would be most ideal would be for those kids to be able to be easily adopted by families that love them, that want to put them in a good situation. And I don't think, this is a point that a lot of my Christian friends make, I don't think two wrongs make a right. Like, there's a lot of kids that are born into quote unquote dangerous situations who end up flourishing in life, and they live very healthy, successful lives against all the odds. You know what I'm saying? And to just like discount all those kids and say, oh, there's no way that they could live a healthy, happy life. Like, I think that's wrong. And I think that yeah, we should make it easier to adopt kids, because there's a lot of kids in this country who, you know, are born into shitty situations that could probably have better situations, and there's barriers to it, you know?
So do you support putting funding into programs that would make the system better and make it more safe? Like supporting like
absolutely
foster care, for example.
We spend hundreds of billions of dollars a year on the dumbest, most useless shit. We've sent Ukraine like what, $60 billion north of that. We've sent another country so much money when we have kids here in America who are starving, who are below the poverty line, who aren't in good situations. I think that we have, there's so much money to go around. We printed trillions and trillions of dollars over the past couple of years. If we're talking about where to put our money in America, I think if we're going to build a pro-life country, like, we should be looking at the kids who need it most.
I agree.
Americans should eat first, and we should take care of especially our younger generation. How do you pronounce that dude's name?
By the way, what? Shaheen Koini? Guys, we've
Fuck
been
you.
talking about the abortion thing for about 10 minutes now, so we
Yeah,
should probably
let's switch.
move on.
Please.
But I do appreciate the debate. It was good.
Thank you
I
guys
think
for
I
hearing
think
me
we
out.
should all be able
Thank
to have a conversation about these difficult topics, and yeah, okay. So I do want to bring it back to what got us there, though, which is the patriarchy. So can you give me some other examples
Other examples
of
I
how
think-
we live in a patriarchy
Oh
today?
gosh, what's the statistic? I don't know what the statistic is. Isn't there a statistic about?
Well, I think what she's trying to say with
And
the
if any girls wanna
patriarchy,
come in.
I've taken a lot of like history classes and just sociology classes, that kind of thing. So I've actually learned a lot about it. Okay. Wasn't trying
Go
to
ahead,
show
go
off
ahead,
there. I think that our society, since God knows how long ago, it has been a male-ran society. I mean, there's been so many instances. I mean, think about it. Like the whole stereotype of women stays at home, man like works, like blah blah blah. You know, men go to war, women stay and kind of take care of the kids. in my opinion, that's patriarchy, because that's kind of giving the men like this like higher role and like higher position in society. And I think that as society's progressing, it's becoming more progressive, and women are kind of, you know, the whole feminist movement, that kind of thing. But I think you can't deny that throughout history, women have been oppressed.
You could also kind of
I would say, I don't think we should gender it, though. I think throughout history, men and women have been oppressed. It's really the apex fallacy. The patriarchy theory is the apex fallacy. You have a very, very small proportion of people at the very top which oppress everyone, both men and women. But
you don't think that there's... So are you, just to make your point...
I reject this idea of the patriarchy theory.
Do you support the idea of women have been oppressed in society?
I think both men and women have been oppressed. And I can actually, this is going to be the hot take here.
That was a hot take.
No, hold on. I can actually make an argument that men have been more oppressed.
Please
than women.
make your argument right now. Please. What? State your case,
this
Brian.
Is such an interesting
Let me ask you a question. Throughout,
just hear him out. Just hear him out.
Let me ask you a question.
I'm hearing you out right now.
So throughout all human history, and I think that, you know what, this one probably squashes any grievance that I think women could conceivably come up with. Throughout all human history, what percentage would you say of military casualties, if you had to break it up between the genders? What is the percentage breakdown of military casualties?
Well, obviously,
so deaths and injuries.
Obviously, a significantly more amount of men.
99.99999%.
But that's also because in the past, women have not been allowed to.
That's a privilege.
Fight in the military.
That is a privilege.
Do you think if women had been allowed, hold on guys, do you think if women had been allowed to join the military, they would be signing up in droves to get put through the meat grinder of war?
Well, it's also men literally like want to be in it. Like so many men, one of my guy friends told me actually that like all men at some point in their lives like fantasize about being in the military.
You're right. A lot of men do. A lot of men are attracted to war. However, this hasn't been a consensual thing throughout human history. Throughout human history, you've had so many emperors and kings that literally just, they will send soldiers to your house. They say, all right, Tanner.
Even in Ukraine right now, going on.
Ukraine right now, people are getting forced to fight in this war. Men weren't allowed to leave the country in Ukraine. You realize this, women were allowed to leave the country. Men were not allowed to leave the country in Ukraine because they were forced to go to the front lines, right into the meat grinder of war. They were forced to die. This is not something that's happened to women throughout human history.
But women haven't given the opportunity to. I mean, you can make the argument that how many women would, right? Like, that's a good argument. But then you could also say women were not allowed to enlist.
All right, so World War III starts tomorrow. How many of you are enlisting?
Enlisting willingly?
Yep.
Probably wouldn't, but if they told me I had to go, I'd go. Suck it up.
You wouldn't have a choice.
Yeah,
you wouldn't have a choice.
You have to suck it up.
Her point is that women haven't had the option, so that's why it was all
dudes.
Well,
it's also, I actually come from a military family, like my whole life. And sorry, I lost my train of thought.
It's okay. That's all right. My point was just simply that you guys are right. Almost all societies throughout history have been male dominated.
But a very small percentage.
It's by a very tiny percentage of men at the top who brutally oppress the majority of the men below them throughout society as well. And yes, women have gotten the raw end of the stick too, but like dudes have had it bad as well for a long time. And we've had more rights in terms of property and speech and stuff like that and voting, but it's been pretty bad for dudes for a long time too.
Those are big deals. Like those are legal issues that women didn't have rights to. And now we're taking away.
Women couldn't vote. Remember that?
I do.
Yeah.
I was alive back then.
What do you think about that?
Wait, about what?
Do you think that women, if you lived back then, right, would you support women not voting? Do you think that that's right and just? Do you think that that's a decision for the men to make, that women are not competent enough to vote? Because that's what it was.
Well, so actually, Eric, can you pull up, there's a infographic. Okay. Eric, there's an infographic.
Yes, I know women can vote now. I'm talking about like however many years in history.
It's an important question.
Chris, go into the infographics.
Brian wants to move on to something else, but it's important.
No. It's related to the voting thing. So, I mean, What's your question? Should women not have been allowed to vote?
no.
She's asking if
no.
we think we should repeal the 19th. That's what she's asking.
No.
No.
I'm kidding.
No.
No. Wait. Okay. Go into podcast. Go into infographics. Okay, and then you're gonna see one voting. It's the first one. Pull that over. Okay, and then F11.
Did you say why did we bring up Ukraine?
Okay, go window
no,
mode for us.
that's
Oh,
not
bring
why.
back OBS so we can see. Sorry guys, one sec. We're pulling up an infographic here on voting.
Is this an accurate infographic coming from an accurate source?
I'm not sure if it's been fact checked by Bill Gates' fact checkers. So.
Okay,
Very
so this is
So-
F11, Eric. Okay, so yeah, there you go. So percentage of population aged 21 or over eligible to vote. This is in the UK. So, but I mean, okay. So this is like pretty, I'd say amongst Western countries, this is pretty much the case. So you'll notice before like the mid 1800s, it was pretty much a very small proportion of men had the vote. This concept of voting is an incredibly new concept. Before that, it was just tyrants. You had kings, queens. They're the ones who had power. A very, very small amount of people had power. Yes, there is a bit of a discrepancy there from about the 1800s to the early 1900s, but there is actually a reason for that. One of the reasons is because, and I think we've seen it. So if you want to just go ahead and bring it back, Eric. One of the reasons for you need to go F11 in this StreamYard window, Eric. Thank you. One of the discrepancies, or one of the reasons for that, is because men were the only ones that were subject to military conscription. So the way that men got the right to vote before women is we had to go in the fucking trenches and die. And we had to say we got the right to vote and elect a representative who would be potentially making the decision if we went to war. Women, even to this day in 2022, they're not required to, you have to register, as a man, you have to register with a selective service to this day. We are still subject in 2022 to the military draft. So that's the big thing. That's one of the reasons why we got the vote before y'all, because we had to fucking go and potentially die for our country. Women were able to secure the vote without the corresponding responsibilities and duties. So you actually got, when it comes to voting, you guys actually have an advantage over men. It was never about equality. You got preferential treatment in actuality, because none of you are subject to the draft, even today.
But what if some women
There are
want to
men
be
ar-
subject?
there are men
what
alive
if they want to be
today-
subject to the draft?
There are men alive today that were subject to the draft. They went to the Vietnam War. They're alive today, so some of them came back. They have probably serious psychological issues. A lot of them are homeless. A lot of them just didn't come back and they're dead. Now, there hasn't been a draft in a long time, but we're still subject to it. And the way the world's going, it's certainly plausible that we could see. I mean, we see what happened in Ukraine.
Do you think that there's a World War III brewing? In your
I don't.
opinion?
Absolutely. Yep.
I don't know, but it's
No comment.
even if war isn't likely, if we don't register with the selective service, we can potentially face criminal prosecution. It's
Do you
a
think
felony.
that there's going to be a draft? Do you think that there's a possible
Yes.
draft that could be?
It
I mean,
could
I'm just
happen.
asking out of pure
Yeah,
curiosity.
100%.
It
The
can
mil-
happen.
the military can't find enough able-bodied people right now because
Interesting.
it's still volunteer service right now, and they're struggling to hit their numbers.
My dad always says this, but I asked him this question the other day. I said, "Is it possible for there to be another draft?" And he told me he doesn't think so, just because of like the new way of fighting is just kind of like it's very technology based. I mean, I might be wrong, but
Gen 5 warfare.
right. And so wouldn't that require less troops because it's
There's still going to be a draft. I mean,
You still need troops for a lot of stuff. Like
Okay.
if you're going in, you can do a lot of warfare using automated vehicles or robots or whatever it is. But if you're going into another country, like you're going to need boots on the ground. And
now this is me not knowing anything,
That's
so this
okay.
is
That's all right.
appreciative of the
Yeah.
information.
yeah, no. And I personally think World War III is brewing. There's a lot of stuff brewing in the world right now.
Are you scared?
No, I have faith in God.
Valid answer. Okay.
I mean, if you want to talk about systemic oppression, to this day, men are systemically oppressed by the Selective Service. I know you're smiling, but the fact of the matter
It's
is,
a really important point.
if there was a war, we would be drafted and you guys would be exempt. And you are exempt from having to register with the Selective
Can I
Service.
have another example other than the draft?
Military
Another-
ain't that
With
bad.
systemic.
We're more likely to be victims of police killings and police shootings and police brutality. We're more likely to be incarcerated. We're more likely to delete ourselves. We're less likely to get sponsorships for college. We're less likely to go to college. More likely to be homeless. That's a few.
Okay, can I say something really quick?
Sure.
A lot of those things, like, I'm not saying they're not struggles, because they are. I'm just saying that, like, a lot of those struggles are because, like, people in power just take men more seriously. And I think that, like, women's problems.
More seriously, we are the disposable sex.
Yes.
Men are the disposable sex. Women are valued. Men go to war, get killed, be a workhorse.
Yep.
But they do
labor
that
for
because
us.
they, like, it's no secret that men are just, like, physically more, like, capable than women.
Well, that's
There's
part
a
of
reason
it.
these lights are on.
That's part. Different discussion. That's part of it. That's
get
part
it.
of it. But the other thing,
Don't get it?
you're looking at this. Hold on, guys. You're looking at this through the lens of oppression. Okay. You're looking at this like, okay, men throughout history haven't taken women seriously enough to put them on the battlefield, right? Well, the other side of the coin is that women have been highly valued throughout history for their ability to bear children and everything else that you guys can do that men can't do. You guys are very highly valued for that. That's why today we're still the dudes that get tossed into the meat grinder and you guys are protected from the fray, okay? Childbearing women have been extremely valuable throughout almost all of human history because without you guys, the race, the culture, the civilization, the tribe can't go on. We're expendable.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like people only value women because of their fertility. Like, they don't
that's
value
a-
their intellect. They don't value.
It's
like-
What do
not
you
that
value
you're
men for?
just valued for your
What'd you say?
fertility.
What do you value men for?
It's not that you're just valued for your fertility. That's an incredible thing to be valued for. Like, you guys have something that men don't.
Well, it would be nice to walk into a classroom and have, like, all the guys actually listen to me for once. Because personally, I don't know about you guys, but every time I've tried to say something in class where it's predominantly male, mostly in, like, my science classes and stuff.
Especially STEM, very much STEM.
You get talked over. People don't look at you the same. They don't take you seriously. They don't. And as a man, you'll never understand that. People don't take us seriously.
I'm sorry to hear that.
No, yeah,
sorry to
that's
hear that.
something that
That's
we can't
unfortunate.
necessarily like super understand.
But I can
And this is
guarantee you a
also-
lot of women feel that same exact way.
But once you
That's something I can't
graduate,
emphasize.
and you have a what are you studying?
Psych and brain science.
Psych and brain science. I mean, there's actually affirmative action for women in STEM programs in the education system and also for hiring. If you're a computer scientist, software engineer, and you're a woman, you're getting a job.
I think that's great. But
That's a huge advantage
But
for
But
women.
it's still not the attitude that is given to women, even though they do, like, I do agree, affirmative action does help and whatever that, it's still the attitudes. Like, that's what I said when I said there's still undertones of it in our society. I still feel like women are disrespected by men and looked down upon from my personal experience and from what I've witnessed.
People look down
So-
upon all sorts of people. It's not just women that are looked down upon. Like low value
But
dudes.
it's a widespread
For
issue.
Low value, yeah, you're right. But low value dudes, for example, I bet there's a million dudes that you guys have met and they felt like you guys never gave them the time of day, and they'd probably have a complaint about that. You know, like it's just part of life. You know.
For instance, think about like a plumber, right? Like what I was saying about the lights, and I was saying, like didn't get that. Like, think the last like woman who is an electrician that you guys met, who is a plumber, who keeps society rolling in a lot of the just like municipal stuff that we have going on, like within our society. It's all men that are making like $60,000 a year. They're working like these blue collar jobs, wading through shit.
Just the
climbing up
hardest,
telephone
shittiest
poles,
jobs
the worst
ever.
stuff. You like, it's not that bad here. Like, you know, for instance, there was like a huge windstorm here a couple months ago. And there's like linemen right outside my, you know, like door, working on power lines and whatnot. I guess that's not too bad. But you think about like, hey, if it's negative 40 out and there's a dude in Montana and like the heat goes out, there's a dude getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning and below 40 negative, below zero, who's climbing up that pole, who's like getting power back on so that people have heat and whatnot. And that's pretty shitty. And he's also doing that for like $50,000, $60,000 a year.
And
I'm sure that's not fun.
I don't know. I literally do not know a single woman that wants a job like that, and that stuff is just left to the men. And it's kind of a raw deal, you know? Why don't chicks want those jobs? You know?
I want to add a little bit to this. I don't think we're trying to say that men don't have struggles, but I think the problem is that women also have struggles, and those struggles need to be taken as seriously as men's struggles.
Well,
and like,
yeah, of course.
Not
Both
like
men
in
and women.
society, it just sucks that like,
Well, actually,
as women, our struggles aren't taken as seriously, and a lot has changed, but like, it's still not completely equal.
Actually, I think women's struggles are taken far more seriously than men's struggles. There's almost no discussion about the struggles that men face.
What do you guys think about feminism, like in your guys' opinion?
What is feminism? Why don't you tell us what you think that is
It's a great counter.
I would say a feminist would be the kind of new generational woman, the kind of feminist movement that you're seeing now, because there's been a lot of feminist movements in history. I would say the new feminist movement now, I mean, obviously there's extremities of it, but you know, women that are pro-life, for example, women that think that, you know, whatever wage gap is going on needs to be evened out, women, just that kind of thing. So what are your guys' opinions on that, on modernized like feminism?
Should I go first? Do you
Yeah.
guys want?
Go for it.
So my sense of what feminism is, and you always hear different definitions, and it seems to always shift. Feminism is Tanner. Oh, okay. He's just going to the bathroom. So feminism is a women's advocacy movement. It's not an equality movement. Feminism has always been about women's advocacy. They'll fight for equality only where that equality would stand to benefit women. If no benefit can be reaped, feminists will not fight for it. That's my sense of feminism. It's basically trying to secure preferential treatment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm an egalitarian. I believe in equality, but I just cannot be a feminist because the core tenet of feminist is the patriarchy theory.
Mm-hmm.
And also feminism is just clearly anti-male. It's clearly anti-male in its ideology.
Yeah.
Well, I also just think that like the actual definition of feminism is just that like you believe that women and men should have the same rights. Like I don't think like behind all the other stuff, like if you're just looking at the definition of the word, like that's what I believe it is. It's not that I believe women should be superior to men. I just think that they should be equal.
So if that's how we're defining it, I like that definition. The word feminism though has so much stuff attached to it, like that we're straight white males trying to oppress women with our opinions, and that we're evil, and we are the patriarchy embodied.
You're a pretty evil guy. You're pretty evil.
You mean that?
You're pretty evil. No, I'm kidding.
Bro.
What time is it?
I have places to be, bro. Sorry.
It is getting late. We have been. It's 10. We should.
Bruh, okay. Lauren. She's getting a little angry. I'm sorry.
I'm not getting angry. I'm just like, I just don't, this isn't like productive. Like you're not going to change my opinion. I'm not going to change yours. Like there's no point.
I'm an egalitarian.
There's differences between us that we're never going to be able to understand. Like for instance, so I'm the only boy like in my family. I have a older sister and a younger sister that I love a lot, and you know they're both very beautiful, and they've expressed how they have come across situations where like they couldn't walk down like Hollywood Boulevard or something like that without feeling like afraid and getting catcalled, and then like getting pursued super aggressively, and where like they turn them down and then it turns aggressive and they're like afraid. I will never be able to understand that. Like I won't. Just there's a lot of things that you guys will not be able to understand as men that we deal with, and that's just, you know, it's yin and yang. That just is what it is. You know what
also,
I mean?
I just want to be really clear. It's totally okay for you guys to disagree with us. That's totally fine. It's encouraged. There's no ill will towards you guys or anything. We're just, you know, this is content. You know, we're just having a debate. That's how I view it. Like,
yeah, honestly, like that's kind of what I just said. Like I do think that like we just have different viewpoints. Like I respect some of your viewpoints, and I'm sure you respect some of mine. But like, I just think like the point of this conversation, I feel like I'm just getting frustrated because I feel like there's certain blockades that like I will never understand and you will never understand.
It's just we all have different life experiences. Every single one of us has a different upbringing. We have different parents, different everything. And so, I mean, that's the thing about arguments. It's hard to see the other side when you've had, you know, you were raised a certain way, you guys were raised a certain way. We're different genders, we have different struggles. So, I mean, we're not invalidating your guys' struggles and you guys aren't invalidating ours. So I think we can reach the middle ground of maybe not agreeing, but accepting your guys' opinions.
Let me just respond to that. Like, I feel like we're saying that we have different opinions because we're different genders and that we would never understand, you know, where you guys are coming from. And it's a valid point. I would be curious to hear a conversation between you guys and all of the women out there that disagree with modern feminism, because there's a lot of them, and they do have the same lived experiences as you guys, and they have a lot of arguments against modern feminism and a lot of the points that you guys have raised. I think that would be an interesting conversation.
But there's a lot of people that disagree with the points that you've raised as well. There's always going to be people that disagree.
Yeah,
so.
the reason I said it is because you're kind of implying that you guys were implying we're disagreeing because we're a different gender with different lived experiences, and I'm saying it's not about that. Like, well,
it is about that. I mean, you're disagreeing with us because you're disagreeing with us, and we're disagreeing with you because we're different. Like, we have different views.
I want to just ask,
right?
Do you guys, just show of hands, do you identify as a feminist?
Yeah.
I would say yes.
Show of hands.
Does this apply to you guys?
Okay.
Too?
Can I,
Like, why aren't you guys raising your hand?
I don't agree with a lot of modern feminism.
I'm not holding.
Like the definition of the word.
The what?
The definition of the word
definition
that men and women should
provided?
have equal rights. Yeah.
But
I
in
agree with
practice, it's totally something different. What would you guys be open to me challenging you to change your identity, you identifying from a feminist to an egalitarian?
Explain what an egalitarian is in
Someone
more
who
detail.
believes in equality.
That's what feminism is.
But in practice, it's something that's very different. And the core tenet of feminism is the patriarchy theory, which
I agree with the patriarchy theory.
she agrees with patriarchy.
Is there like a word, like, is there like a masculinism? Is that like a thing, like masculinism?
Or like
Masculinity.
There's men's rights advocacy.
Wait, is there a word for being like the oppression of men? Like, is that a word?
It's called.
I mean, there's a
Oh,
there's
are
a
you asking if
matriarchy.
there's like an opposite equivalent to feminism?
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's
because I was going to
wouldn't
argue.
know the word for it.
Because I was going to argue that the reason that the word exists is because, like, women have struggled because they were women. So I think that isn't like the same thing. It should be synonymous with the word egalitarian. Like, but I just, obviously people have taken it too far, but like, I'm just saying that's why it exists.
Yeah, I would say that almost the opposite equivalent is like the positive masculinity movement.
What is it called?
Andrew
It's
Tate.
just kind of generally.
Literally.
What'd you say?
What do we think
Andrew
about
Tate.
Andrew Tate, guys?
Well, he's
No,
like one of the
that's-
people in it. Some people call it the manosphere, but like there's a movement of positive masculinity, and it's focused less though on like fighting oppression and more on bringing like the best possible, healthiest masculinity into the world to help as many people as
I
possible.
think that's a great movement. Like, I think that men sure struggles. Like, I
Healthy
think, like,
masculinity,
Obviously,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
there's a huge reason why you think women are more emotional than men. It's because women have been more like taught to accept that they're emotional and like acknowledge and deal with their emotions. But I also think it's because
It's a hormonal
that men.
thing. It's a
Okay,
hormonal
it's not
thing.
just hormonal.
It is.
Okay, it's not only
It is.
hormonal. Obviously, there's exceptions. Like, there's some like non-emotional women. There's some like, extremely emotional men. I'm saying that like I think that men
Society.
like have been conditioned to not like have emotions, and I think that is detrimental and contributes to toxic masculinity.
I understand.
No such thing.
I understand. I 100%.
There's just toxic people. Is there toxic femininity?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes.
I just think that there's toxic people. Why gender it? Why do we have to gender everything? Can't we
Because
just
the reason why
someone
it's
can be
called toxic masculinity
Let me ask:
is because
is there toxic blackness?
what the fuck?
No. But you see where I'm going with that. It would be. I'm not saying I want to make something clear. I'm not saying there is, but you see like how attaching the term toxic to that can almost be in the same way that would be a racist thing to say. It's a sexist thing to say that there's toxic masculinity or toxic femininity. I just think people are toxic. Toxicity knows no gender. That's my take.
Okay, I respect that take, but I think that the reason why we attach masculinity onto toxic is because there's no shortage of things that could be toxic. I'm just saying that by attributing, like by saying toxic masculinity versus just saying toxic, it kind of acknowledges that the reason for this toxicity, this certain type of toxicity, is because of the way of like more masculine, I guess, areas, like the reason by how men were shaped. You know, it's not just by like people being toxic. It's just saying that like there's a reason why it's called toxic masculinity versus just saying it was toxic.
What are some examples of toxic masculinity?
Like calling guys simps when they're like into their girlfriends, like things like that, you know?
The simp term is a useful term at times. Okay, if you're calling a dude a simp,
what about calling a guy a pussy when he's crying?
There's a lot of women that want to like clearly step all over men, right? And then there's a lot of men that clearly just want to take advantage of women. Those are the far reaches of both sides. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, most people don't fall within those categories, but they're out there and they get the most attention, mostly because of how people digest most communication is via social media. And it's not the moderate views of most people that are going to get the most attention. It's going to be the people that are on the far reaches, because that's going to drive the most attention, the most clickbait, the most hate and whatnot. There's a middle ground. Of course, there's going to be those crazy feminists that are out there that they don't want equality. They only want superiority, and that's it. There's also the same can be said about men. You know what I mean? They're out there. The vast majority of people aren't going to fall in those categories, though. It's just not going to happen.
You guys also pinned the whole like simps and pussy thing on toxic masculinity, kind of. There's a shitload of girls who call dudes simps, and there's a shitload of girls who call dudes pussies too.
I know, but I can't speak on behalf of like every other woman that's existed. I'm just saying from like a general point of view. Like, I think that like men have been conditioned to think that like showing emotion is like a sign of weakness.
That does happen. We men and women are temperamentally different, though. Like, we have different temperaments. And when I mentioned this came down to hormones earlier, you guys laughed, but like, and I'm not sure why you guys laughed, but this is like a really important thing. Like, the dominant hormone in men is testosterone, and the dominant hormones in women are estrogen and progesterone, okay? Those change how your brain processes emotion, right? When a man has healthy testosterone levels, he's not prone to chaotic mood swings and having his mood all over the place. When women are going through a pregnancy or when they're going through different phases of their cycle, your guys' emotions can go all over the place. All of you guys know this, okay? This is just a part of nature. It's just how things naturally work. It's not a bad thing, but this is why a lot of women lean on their men in their relationships to be like a grounding, stabilizing force for them when they feel like a lot of emotion, because men generally have more stable emotions, and it's not as much because of conditioning, but conditioning comes into it. It's because of what's happening in our bodies.
I'm sure that some,
Wait, did you want to say something to that?
I said, I think I just laughed because like, I think it's erroneous to attribute all of like the emotion, like the discrepancy of emotions between men and women just to hormones. Like, I think obviously, like, yes, that's a part of it.
How big of an effect hormones have on our
I know
our
hormones.
psychology?
I know. Okay, obviously I know that women like are more prone to being hormonal in like the emotional sense, but I also think that a factor of it is because men aren't like conditioned to express how they feel.
That's part of it. That's part of it for sure.
That is part of it, and a lot of men have like super low testosterone now, like way less than ever. Hell, some dudes will probably call me simps like on here just for saying this, but I will say like that women's innate ability to lean on their emotions and be more emotional, that's what makes women beautiful. And like their ability to do that and to have those perspectives from their emotions is a good thing.
We love
just
it.
as
It's awesome.
men who are able to lead from their frame, that is a good thing too. Again, it's the yin and the yang. Like, men and women are made to complement one another. Like, we are superior and inferior to one another in different ways for good reason.
I agree.
I like that. I really like that. I like that analogy. I like the yin and yang. The men are superior in some ways, women are superior in some ways. We offer different things.
That's
like, I'm a
100%
very
what it is.
unempathetic person.
Did you say unempathetic?
Yeah, for a lot of the times. But for instance, like, you know, who I'm with right now, she is very empathetic. Mm-hmm. And I guess we complement each other in that way.
Wait, can you talk about her? Can you talk about your situation? we've been having a
What do you wanna
heated
know?
debate.
What do
I
you
feel
wanna
like it's
know?
kind of a
Yeah, what do you want to
ill-lighted-
know?
We
What do you
need
wanna
some
know?
lightness.
Okay.
Fuck.
You know, the whole situation with the thing, and then, you know, the thing, can you talk about it?
Do you want to
Can you just give us a quick
No,
story?
I mean, not really, but
Okay.
then
So
Yeah.
Okay,
and,
never mind.
and let me just say with what we were saying before, like I know it's like heinous for dudes like to stand against feminism or whatever.
No, I'm not.
I know it's like heinous for us to like stand against it, but one of the reasons why I'm like not totally in support of everything that comes with feminism is because like there's this idea that the only differences between men and women are because of like cultural conditioning, and that men and women are basically equal in how we function and all this stuff, but culture conditions us to be manly or to be womanly. I think God created men and women, like Tanner was saying, to complement one another, and I think that feminist narrative of like it's all cultural conditioning, I think that like overlooks like some of the most beautiful aspects of our humanity, you know?
Yeah, I agree, but I also think that just by like categorizing all feminists into that label, it kind of like gets rid of the ones that are actually like rational. Like hopefully like part of us are being, you know?
I got a question. So feminism is about equality, right?
Yeah.
So what is a way in which feminism has advocated for men?
Well, I mean, they like agree that men should be able to like express their emotions without shame.
Okay, that seems fairly minor.
yeah.
compared to some of the
What do you
other
mean
issues men
express
face.
your emotions, though? Can you elaborate on that? And who do you think that men should explain their emotions to?
I mean, just like as a general way of saying like they're allowed to have emotions and they don't always have to be like solemn.
Okay, I will say this, right? So, for instance, right now, like with my relationship, I think that a man, for the most part, should be like a rock in a relationship and should be, you know, extremely strong and lead, right? And he shouldn't burden the woman that he is with his like emotions, his heavy emotions. I'll say it like outright right now. Chase is one of my best friends. Like I've cried to him and been like, hey, this is what's going on in my life, and this fucking sucks. This is the worst thing I've ever gone through my entire life. And I'll express those emotions like with him and go to him to help, be like, hey man, I need help with this, right? Like this fucking sucks. I'm not gonna go to a woman that I'm with and be like, hey, this is the hardest thing I ever deal with, and I don't know if I can do this, because they're gonna lose confidence within me, and they're probably just in their innate being, yeah, they're gonna lose confidence and they're not gonna trust me as much. Versus like I can go to strong men that I have in my life that I'm super grateful that I have, and talk to them about what's going on. You guys might not understand that, and that's okay.
Chicks say that they want men to express their emotions, but when men express their emotions in moments of weakness, it causes chicks to break up with dudes. It's happened a million times.
So it's always bad.
It's
always
bad. But this has been a very heavy conversation. I feel like
We should talk about body
everybody's-
count.
No, I should not.
We
I
should
have-
the 621 guy. I bet
v-
you can't fight.
I don't know how much longer you guys want to go, but I do have a really important question for you
Is it
guys
just
before
one?
you guys. Yeah, it is.
Because we
just
do.
one.
Yeah. Okay.
Just one.
Go for it.
This is a really positive thing for everybody listening and everybody in the room. For all of our male listeners, what do you guys as women think? What is the number one thing that you guys think men can do to make themselves more attractive? What? To women.
Good
'Cause
question.
there's
Not the
dudes.
adjective I was expecting.
What were you expecting?
What were
I
we-
thought you were gonna say something like more supportive, like better.
No, because there's a lot of guys listening to these podcasts, and they're trying to figure out like how to be successful with women and stuff. And from a woman's perspective, like, what do you guys think dudes can do?
And I don't think he means
Support women.
I don't think
Not
he means
physically.
Not-
physically
no,
attractive.
no, like-
he means to be attractive.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it could be a personality thing. Or
Yeah.
For me, I think it's a guy who like makes me feel important. Like someone who like kind of goes back to what we were talking about originally, like way long ago. How sometimes if you go and you have like that body count, you went and said like sometimes it can be unattractive because you don't feel like what you have with her is like special. Like if a guy like makes me feel special and like I'm the only one for him, like that makes me feel very important. That's very, very attractive to me.
Okay, that's a good answer.
I agree with Hannah. A big thing for me is confidence. Everyone has things they're insecure about, but everyone has things that they're proud of and they love about themselves, and being confident in those things and leading with those things is so attractive. and not being scared to show those sides of yourself, I feel like, I don't know, that's attractive. So confidence, don't be scared to be who you are, be proud of who you are, and if there's things you don't like about yourself, just focus on the parts that you do like about yourself.
So men should lean into their strengths to build their confidence.
Yeah,
Okay.
own yourself.
I really value emotional intelligence in a man because I believe that in a lot of circumstances, conflicts can be resolved through emotional intelligence. And I also think that emotional intelligence can aid a man in obviously both parties have to be emotionally intelligent at some level. But I think it's important for a guy to be able to be as supportive as possible to his girlfriend, because I may go back to your point. Predominantly, girls are a little bit more emotional in relationships, at least the ones that I have been in.
It's okay to admit it.
I have been the more emotional one, and what helps me is a really supportive man to lean on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to admit. There's no shame
There's
in it.
nothing wrong with that.
There's
at all.
nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, as a dude, when my girlfriend is like in an emotional state, I love being a rock for her. It makes me feel like a man.
But it's hard
Straight
when it's okay. Never mind.
Don't date boys. I get what you were saying.
Date men.
Date men.
Date men. Yeah. Okay.
So emotional intelligence, being able to understand you, what you need emotionally.
And
that makes
also,
men more
I would
attractive.
say, I mean, getting into, adulthood, I think commitment is definitely a huge one, because, I mean, at the end of the day, you want to marry the person that you're dating, right? And you're not able to do that if they're not equally committed as you. And commitment can be almost like things like, I don't know, a good morning text, or things like just being the shoulder to cry on is commitment to the relationship. Just doing the little things every single day that nourish the relationship and just keep it strong and whole.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Thanks.
I
No
think
disputes.
that the sexiest thing for a man to have is intelligence, like in both an emotional and like regular whatever. My
Intellectual
boyfriend
way.
is
Goes both
also
ways.
pretty emotional, and he goes to Stanford, and he's like a comp sci major. He's
How's
like
he
the
emotional?
smartest. Because I don't know if he's not like, I don't know, like volatile, but I think he's like comfortable with his emotions. Like he's like, I don't know, he like expresses that he like loves me and he's not embarrassed. Like if his friends like roast him, like things like that,
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's a sign of security.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Big thing on here that I want to bring up, somebody's comment, I don't know where it was, but he's like, hey, I'm a cop and saw some shit, and my wife wasn't there, but like my friends were. Men don't like, okay, I'm military. I'm not like a combat vet or anything, never like went and did anything cool or anything, but like men, talk to your brothers, for sure. Like, talk to them. You don't have to bleed everything out onto like women and whatnot and people like within your relationships. Just talk to your friends, because they're probably going through something very similar to themselves, and they're gonna be open and honest with you, and like they will be that shoulder to cry on if you have a good set of men around you.
It's very important. Brotherhood is essential. I wanted to hear from Hannah too.
And after we hear from Hannah, I got one more question to ask the panel, and then we got to wrap up the super chats, and then we'll wrap up. We've gone a bit long, and I just want to make sure we can get the girls and the guys out of here at a reasonable hour. So appreciate your guys' patience. We'll get you out of here very soon. Go ahead, Hannah.
I think it's really attractive when a guy has passions that he really cares about. Because I've dated a lot of guys that just don't have any passions, and it gets boring. Like you need to be interested in things. You need to like want to learn about things. You need to be curious. It's really important for me that I'm with somebody that's passionate.
Okay, great.
It's a good answer. Tends to be pretty common.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so also one thing we just want to open it up to the panel. If you guys have a final thought or a question that you want to ask for one of us, for the panel, feel free. If you want to skip just to move things along, that's fine too. So Hannah, final thought or question?
I don't have any.
This is not problematic towards you guys, but why are your viewers so racist? They have no reason to be so racist.
What were they? I wasn't.
Just go through the comments, bro.
You know what?
Oh man.
Wait, where?
I'm not sure.
Chun-Li, get some help.
The views.
The internet.
The
It's the internet.
It's the internet.
The views expressed in the comments do not necessarily reflect those of the hosts or panels. So
I see.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty common though for chat to just be. There's some good guys in there. Like, there's a lot of good guys in there, but there's some people, and some of it's just trolling. They're just fucking around, you know.
Most of the comment section is
attention.
awesome, but
And
some
it's
of you guys are
anonymous.
total betas.
It's anonymous too. So, that was your
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the only thing.
Wait, what was like the?
like final thought or question for the panel. You can skip if you want. Like,
I think I'm good. I think
Okay.
we covered a lot of things.
we did talk about a lot of
Yeah.
stuff.
We did talk a lot. I think I'm good. Yeah. Don't really have anything in particular.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I don't really have anything to add. I just want to say thank you for the debate and for
Yeah. Thank you for
like
coming.
even though there was a lot of things we disagreed on, I appreciate you guys listening to what we had to say and letting us talk.
Yeah, it's good to
Yeah.
have a debate, even if it gets a little heated. You know, it's if you can't offend people, if you can't express your opinions, then
I think that's one of the most important things, just like in here, like just to be open-minded and like go in, like you guys heard, you know, us out, and then we heard you guys out, and like for me too, it really like helped me kind of like expand my perspective, because now I really, you know, was able to see like what you guys saw, and like, you know, I'm definitely going to go and take those things like into like consideration, think about that, and like you guys too, like I really appreciate everything that you guys had to say.
and a lot of guys out there, you know, you might talk about some of the stuff with some guy friends, you know, some of the body count type stuff. A lot of guys just can't be honest with this stuff because they're going to get canceled. They want to
Yeah.
sleep with you. So, you know, there's that. Tanner, I think you had your final thought with the cop thing, right?
I mean, no, I had a
You got
great time with y'all.
Okay.
Yeah, no, this was awesome. Anybody talking smack in the comment section? None of you guys can probably fight, so go do push-ups.
Yeah. So,
Owned.
and then Chase, I think you got your kind of question you wanted to ask, right?
No, that was
that
it.
was
It
it,
was
yeah.
what dudes can do to make
Okay, cool.
themselves more attractive.
So,
Can I give my impression?
of the yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I first off, massive respect to you guys for. We had some challenging conversations tonight, and I think you guys articulated yourselves well. We obviously disagreed on a lot. Thank you for expressing where you're coming from, because as a conservative dude, I don't often get to have heated debates with liberal women who have almost opposite viewpoints as me. So thank you for that. Thank you also for I feel like you guys really had a lot of curiosity towards us in terms of how we look at women, and you guys were very curious to hear what we think about dating and clothing choices and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like that displayed humility, and it was nice to be able to explain ourselves in that way. And yeah, respect.
All right. So my final, or unless did
I
you
was
guys?
gonna say, even though I attacked you guys a lot, I appreciate you explaining your side of things.
No, it's good. It's
Same
good.
for me.
It's all right. We can take it. It's okay.
No, it's good. It's good to debate. I think disagreement is healthy. Disagreement is and debate is sorely lacking, and that's why we're so polarized. So we
Agreed.
can't have conversations.
We can.
anymore.
That's what we're doing.
That is
That's
what we're
what we're
doing. So I have my final question for the panel.
Oh no.
You guys know what's coming. Okay, so you all said, just to bring it back here, body count shouldn't matter.
Oh my god.
Oh shit.
Body
we
count
go.
shouldn't matter, right?
Here we go.
Right? Okay, if body count shouldn't matter,
Are you gonna ask for ours?
what's your body count?
3.
Well, hold on. Go ahead.
I think it's a social construct I'm not gonna share.
What? But I thought it was a social construct. It shouldn't
is,
matter.
That's why it doesn't matter. I don't
But-
count.
But just for people who are curious, I think you should share.
I don't
think-
want to.
no.
Thank you though.
If it doesn't matter, why don't you want
What?
to?
Be the change you want to see in the world.
I'm uncomfortable doing so.
That's fine.
I already said 3.
3? Okay.
For the sole purpose, my mother asked me this question yesterday.
Your mom?
My mother.
Oh shit.
My mother asked me this question, and I refused to answer, and I'm gonna refuse to answer because my mother will be watching this, and that is just not. It's just not. It's just really not. It's just if we can somehow block her, then maybe. But I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Love you, Mom.
What's her username?
No. I actually have no idea, but
I think I'll stand with that one. Yeah.
gotta protect the mothers.
Yeah.
Gotta protect the mothers.
Yeah, if my mom
Bruh.
wasn't watching, I'd tell you guys. No, and I'll tell you off camera too, but it's like, I don't care if anyone knows, but my mom, like, I don't know.
And my dad,
Yeah,
guys,
my dad,
my
yeah.
father.
And it's not even bad. It's just,
Man,
the moms
you
really
all
need to
said
know.
it doesn't matter, and none
What's
of you.
yours?
want
Did
to
we say
share.
anything about our parents?
Wait, what are your body counts?
I feel like the mother thing is like a cop out, to be honest.
It's really not. My mom asked me
Wait,
that yesterday
that's a
over
good one.
FaceTime. She goes, "So how many people have you slept with?" And I was like, "No comment." Like no comment.
Okay,
Alright.
so whatever the number is,
Multiply it by 3, and that's the number.
so just.
What are your
That's
body
funny.
counts? Why didn't you
Yeah,
answer?
I wanna know.
Well, I think body count matters. So,
Okay.
so
So
I
therefore,
have,
you're not answering.
well, of course, I have a reason to. But I think Chase, you've shared before, right? Do you want to share again?
Not really. Not if they're not going to answer.
I did answer.
She answered.
You
One
did.
for
You
one.
did. We've got to get a few more answers before I share.
Tanner, you got to come in, bro, because we know about you.
I'm not gonna answer on air. That's way
Come
too
on,
many
Tanner.
people.
Come on, Tanner.
Way too many people.
Come on, Tanner.
Yeah, that's really awful.
No, it's not.
Why?
What?
That
wait,
was
what?
that was brave.
What?
You answered the question, and it's
brave.
it's also
I'd say it is.
it's also not an answer that's like really going to get you judged. Like you didn't have much to lose by saying that.
Wait, what?
Also,
Do
it's
you
very
guys have
low.
stuff to lose?
Do we what?
He has stuff to lose. He might have stuff to lose. I might have stuff to lose. I mean, I'm just not sharing mine out of spite because you guys didn't share yours.
There we go.
Okay.
Wait,
I'm-
can we
I'm
guess? Can we
totally-
guess?
I'm totally comfortable sharing it.
5.
Okay.
Wait, are you guessing?
I'm
his?
guessing. I'm guessing.
Why don't you
Okay.
tell us yours and then?
5.
Okay.
No, oh, that's not mine. I'm just.
I know
just
you're
trying
guessing
to guess.
mine. Okay.
Am I cold,
Hannah,
hot?
do you have a guess?
Do I have a guess? I mean, you said you went through a phase, so maybe like 12.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess 8.
Okay.
I'm going to guess number 9.
Okay.
But you can only tell us if it's true if we pick the right number.
None of you guessed it.
Okay. Okay.
7?
Fair enough.
Is it lower or higher?
I feel like it's definitely higher.
It was in the ballpark.
20.
It was in the ballpark.
20.
No.
Number 7.
Yes, I've slept with 7 women.
I said 7.
Yes!
Dub.
So you guys gonna tell us now or what?
No.
Body count doesn't matter, guys.
It's a social
Apparently,
construct.
it's social construct.
If
doesn't
body
matter.
count was truly a social construct and it didn't actually matter, these women would
But
be
the
very
issue
happy
is
to share
that
it with us.
People weaponize it, and that's not something.
You know
on
what?
the
I've said
internet.
things in this conversation people are going to weaponize against me someday.
Yeah.
And it's important to be the change you want to see in the world.
We must speak truth.
Yes.
Speak the truth.
The best thing that you can be is yourself, for sure. Like, there's so much fake everything, fake people, fake food, fake systems. The best thing to be is yourself.
Okay, so they're not gonna answer it.
Preach.
That's totally fine.
Let me guess. Is it under 20?
Oh, wait.
Oh, if it's
Oh,
way
of
under
course.
20, then you shouldn't.
I just feel I have a boyfriend. That's like weird. Like, I don't want to talk about that.
And that's fine.
That's
If they don't want to
understandable.
answer, it's fine. It's fine.
Is
We
it
won't
under
pressure.
20?
No, it's way higher. No, I'm kidding. Joking.
Multiply it by 3, and that's the real number.
All right. Well. So, but let's talk a little bit about body count, right? Why does it matter, Chase? Why does body count matter?
You already explained why it mattered.
Okay, did I
We
explain?
had like a
I don't think I
30-minute
explained.
conversation
Did I
about this.
explain?
I explained in
think I-
depth while
You
you were
also
doing other
explained
stuff.
why it mattered.
You were doing other stuff around the room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, guys,
Do you
that is a
think
really
the-
nice message.
Do you think the double standard is an acceptable double standard? So in other words, a guy can sleep with a lot of girls. He's kind of seen as a stud. But if a woman sleeps with a lot of men, she's seen as a slut. Do you think that is a reasonable or justified double standard?
I don't think it's justified.
Not
Lem-
even a little bit.
Well, why would it be justified? Like, what? I don't get it. Like, you're asking, is it okay for society to like be like, yeah, guys, like keep sleeping with as many women as you like want, type thing, and then like,
Well, guys are seen as studs and women are
right,
seen as sluts. If
right.
that's-
Well, I don't think that's.
Yeah,
I don't think
definitely-
that's justified.
You don't think it's a justified double
No.
standard?
No. I mean, would
No?
you guys
Okay.
justify that?
I do think it's justified for a few reasons.
Really?
Okay, here we go.
I knew that was
Really?
coming. I knew that was coming.
I
I knew that was coming.
I want to hear why you think it's justified. I'm
Well,
very curious.
I agree with him, by the way.
Of course you
Thank
do.
you,
Of course
Chase.
you do.
Thank you,
But
Chase.
Of course you do.
there's-
You guys
there's
So
like-
wait, when you say it's justified, do you mean it's like okay for guys to sleep with more
not
girls?
saying it's okay, But there is a reason people
There's
think
a
guys that are able
reason.
to
And
sleep
that's
with a
for
lot of
next
women are
episode.
studs, and women who sleep with
I
a
have
lot
a
of
Can you
guys are
please
sluts.
explain your reasoning?
So,
What's the
so I'll
reason?
come in. Yes, there is a reason for the double standard. One, it's a lot easier for y'all to get laid than it is for men. Way easier. I mean, I can open it up to you if you guys think it's harder for women to get laid, but
I think that might just be because men have like lower standards, though. Like a lot of men do have lower standards.
if men had lower standards, so wait,
I'm pointing at
what?
the camera. I see people in the chat
What?
saying shit.
What?
Just want them to know I see their comments.
Wait, so it's harder for men to get laid because they have lower standards? Wouldn't it be easier for men?
No, yeah, I'm saying it's like the reason why like it's easier for men is because they have lower standards.
Oh, so you think it's easier for men to get laid than it is for women to get laid?
Wait, hold on.
So,
Wait.
look, like, women choose who they want to have sex with. Men take what they can get.
Yeah.
But also, men choose who they settle down with and who they choose to, like, have a partnership.
I think
Honestly,
that's a
some.
generalization.
Yeah.
I think
I will make it way simpler so that everybody can understand. All of you women right now, there's probably 100+ dudes that you know that would sleep with you in an instant, okay? For all guys, at any given moment in time, except for the top tier dudes, at any given moment in time, there's probably less than 6 women that would have sex with them, okay? You can be an average woman, and there's gonna be 1 million dudes that are gonna wanna have sex with her. An average guy is gonna have barely any women that wanna have sex with him. Women tend to want the guys at the top, okay? You don't have to be a woman at the top for men to want you. So it's really easy for women to have sex, okay? It's way harder for men to find women that want to have sex with them.
Most men are completely looked over.
Yes.
like most men are
completely.
invisible.
Which is why it's impressive when a guy it's societally impressive when a guy is able to sleep with a lot of women, okay? It's not impressive at all if a girl can do that. All you have to do is just freaking open your legs. Like literally, it's like literally that easy.
It's easy. Like you don't
literally
need
that
game.
easy.
You just show up.
You
walk into a club, a party. You just got to show up.
All
to
of
get
you
laid.
could go on Tinder right now and sleep with a guy by the end of
Tonight.
the night.
Okay, but we
Instantaneously.
also
I'm
don't
dead.
represent all of females. There's a
You're
lot
right.
of women that are overlooked too.
You're right. You're
Mm.
absolutely
So I
right.
feel like
Yeah.
it's kind of equal. It really just depends.
No. The average woman is going to have a shit ton of guys that want to sleep with her. Okay?
Even if you look through an average woman's, like, Tinder DMs or whatnot, a very average woman could have sex super easily.
yes.
Very easy.
That's why the double standard isn't justified, because I could have sex with hundreds of guys if I wanted to, but I don't. But
That's a good thing.
Yeah, good.
Stay that way.
No. Let me finish. So that's why it doesn't make sense to me to shame women for having a higher body count when they're still rejecting 90% of the guys that come up to them. It's like we still have very high standards. Still, like, that's why the whole double standard thing isn't making sense to me, because guys are taking what they can get. It's like,
Wait, so if you knew a chick that had slept with 150 men, you wouldn't look down on that at all?
I would not judge her. No. Would I want to have sex with her? Maybe not.
You wouldn't
That's
think
a personal preference.
you
I
wouldn't think
be
she was
like-
kind of a slut or anything like that.
I honestly, that's not my business. I don't want to have sex with her.
It's a
I'm straight,
cop-out.
so it's like.
I will say, I'll say this: most women could sleep with most men. Most men could not sleep with most women.
So this is your guys' way of, okay, wait, I'm trying to understand the justification. So because women can sleep with however many men that they want, and men have a smaller pool, right, is what your guys are saying? They have a much smaller pool. So that makes it, like, better for men to, like, rack up the numbers.
No, we're not
It's
saying
not
it's better. We're not
it's
saying
just
it's better.
there's a justification for the double standard.
Okay, wait, would you guys say that
I don't think it's better.
predominantly...
It's like a positive double standard?
No, we're just saying it exists for a reason. Like, it's a valid double
Oh,
standard.
okay. So you're not saying that you, like, think it's good.
I don't think it's a good. I think it's a terrible thing for dudes to just run through women. I think it's damaging for society.
Okay.
But there is a reason why.
Well, I
dudes that sleep-
misconstrued that in my head because I thought that you guys were making the point of, oh, it's a good double standard.
No,
it should stay
No,
that way.
That's not what we're saying. That's not what
Okay,
we're
then
saying.
I agree with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can agree on one thing.
All right.
Yay! Yay!
She doesn't agree.
Are you guys
She still
getting
does-
like paid by the hour or something? Like, what is
He
going
is.
on?
He is. No. It's
I'm losing sleep.
Anyways, okay, so we're going to do super chats and we're going to wrap up the show, guys. So bear with me here. Okay, so...
Oh my gosh.
Speed round.
You just do super chats that are $20 or above, like you said you were going to.
The thing is that some of these came in beforehand, so...
Okay.
We already did this one. I think, did we do... Is this one new? Did I do this one?
No.
Edward Scornfield, I don't know if you're still watching, but really appreciate all your super chats tonight, man. You're a fucking legend. $10 super chat. Programming is prolonged. Associative memory, behavior changes, and the things we value change. Huge fat butts and boobs don't serve any function. Smart men won't value that much in the future. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Let's see. Okay. Oh, we got this guy. Girls like these on the panel will definitely sleep with this ex-convict. I'd like to hear more of the curly-haired cutie in pink. Speak her mind. She's deep. Hey, that's Brandon, by the way. He's been on a couple shows. Pink-haired. Do you want to give a response to Brandon there? I think he's shooting a shot. What do you guys say? She's single.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Definitely. Mm-hmm, yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
Mike Davis, $5 super chat. Hey, Brandon, forget the curly hair. Don't be cheating on me. Yeah, Mike Davis and Brandon, I guess, have a bit of a...
Mike Davis is trying to make conjugal visits to Brandon when he's in prison.
Okay,
oh, yeah.
Brian, true. Type of guy to go dance around the weekends and apologize to the patrons for what they're witnessing. Okay, thank you. Chase the type of dude to drive safely on GTA.
I'm actually insulted by that, bro. That's a big insult. I like to drive as dangerously as possible in GTA, man. Otherwise, the game isn't fun.
Mike Davis, thank you for the $10 super chat. Much appreciated. Schaefer Meister, thank you for the $20. I think that's your buddy, right, Chase?
Yeah, we got to his other
What
question.
a
Yeah.
homie.
Wow.
My man in the gray thinks just because a girl is dressed slutty, she wants to get railed. Not everything revolves around sex. He's insecure level 9,000.
Wow.
Cool story, bro.
Wow.
Zavi, thank you for the $10 super chat. Much appreciated. Chase, do you want a quick little response to that, or?
I don't think every girl that's dressed slutty wants to get railed. I think dressing slutty is a way for women to signal to guys that they're down, though.
Interesting.
And
we
I feel like
got that
I feel like
one.
that's gonna get clipped, and I'm gonna get raked through the coals.
Andrew Tate, $5 super chat. She had that Gok 3000. That's what my homeboy basically said. No idea who you're talking about. Which girl is it? What did I miss something?
I don't know.
Which
Just
one?
keep-
Who knows?
Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going. All of these are well after you say
Yeah.
the $20.
Yeah.
So just do the $20
Yeah.
ones.
No, it's good. We'll get him. Jordan Cole, $20. Brian Robert Lewandowski. Was the BPD girlfriend the one you did all the super old videos with? If so, I understand. No, that was not Andrea, but it was... Well, I'm not going to say it, but... yeah, guys, do not date women with BPD. Sorry, just learn from me, learn from my mistakes. Do not do it.
Facts.
Let's see. Okay, that was under the limit. Devon Jackson, $10. They were talking about the patriarchy, but all want men that are stronger than them, taller than them, make more money, and are smarter than them. Shaking my head. Devon Jackson, thank you for the $10. Girls, if you want really quick, do you have
That's not what the patriarchy is, but okay.
Okay. There
No
you go.
comment.
Unrelated.
Thank you for the $2 there. Jack Miles, I think the Three Stooges on the right should volunteer when World War III starts. Okay.
You guys will be
Yeah.
at the front lines.
That's my boy Jack.
Bye.
Jack, I'll see you there, brother.
I know.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to do this. We do have a rule. If you refuse to answer the body count question, you have to wear this for the rest of the stream. So here you...
No, I don't
So
want
all of
white.
us have to.
It's a World War I war helmet. Here, just put it on.
No, I'm okay.
Dude, you have to tell
No,
them.
you have to.
to tell them
I
that
mean,
they have
you
to
didn't
put it on
answer it either.
before they answer.
Yeah, you didn't
answer it
so I
either,
didn't
You
so I
didn't
think
tell
you
them
have
that they
to
had
wear
to put
it.
that on. Yeah, you have to.
There we
you have to
go.
There
put
we
it on, bro.
go.
Playing by the rules.
Looks great.
Oh God,
You look good.
thank you, man.
Yeah, you look fantastic.
It's a good look. It's a good look. I'm gonna wear it to the club later. Okay, the spearmint. All right. Devon Jackson, thank you for the other $10 super chat, man. Much appreciated. Men's struggles aren't taken seriously at all. Facts. It's true. It's true.
Fact.
Yep. Okay, we got No Bullspit with the $10 super chat. By the way, thank you for being a member, man. Really appreciate it. Only women, children, and dogs are loved unconditionally. A man is only loved under the condition that he provides something. Chris Rock Facts.
Shout out to
Facts.
David Goggins.
Hardcore facts.
100%. Mike Davis, $10 super chat. I'm not young. I've seen many such females back in the day. It's nothing new or chic. They either changed their views with time or ended up bitter and lonely. History repeats itself.
He's the one that's
Okay.
paying to say this, so.
Any you guys gonna shoot
It's
shots?
a man with experience, though. He's been around.
Mike Davis is the man.
Mike Davis is
And
a
here he is
freaking
watching
legend.
us. That's all I have to say.
He's also the
Okay.
one.
Why wouldn't he?
He's also paying to insult us too. So
think-
you said that yourself,
Oh. He
right?
just got paid.
Yeah, you did say that yourself.
Okay, here, Blondie, put this on.
I'm not down. I'm afraid of lice.
I
I don't
a
trust
real
you.
problem.
Here, put it on.
Don't trust you.
Somebody's got to wear it.
Put it on.
Okay, I'll do it. It's fine.
Taking one
Brave.
for the
Shame,
team.
no
She's
shame.
taking
Okay.
one for the
Brave.
There
team.
we go.
Way to
Okay,
go, Hannah.
Mike Davis with the $10 super chat. Brian, no offense, but all three of you fit the description of beta male. Get a real man like Mr. Organic, Myron, Sneeko, and Tate, and they'll dismantle these women. Easy work.
Okay.
Damn, Mike. I think it's
Hey,
just a
hey,
roast.
hey, Mike
Sorry,
Davis.
bro.
Hey, Mike Davis. Why don't you say that to my face, bro? We'll
Come
see
on
who-
the
we'll see
I
who
would
the
love
real
for
beta
him to
male
come on
is.
the
Can we
podcast.
bring Mike and Andrew and then bring
We
all
need
of us back? We wanna
Edward.
talk
I
to
would
them.
love that. Yeah, that'd
Yo,
be entertaining.
thank you, Mike Davis. Appreciate it.
Oh, Mike and Edward.
Yeah, Edward, you need to
The-
come on.
The two guys that have been
bums.
talking a lot. We want to talk.
Yo,
Oh, oh.
Glebis,
The homie.
sorry, Glebius LA. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name there. This is the first time I'm able to send super chat in the last 5 to 7 streams. By the way, I saw that you became a member. I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Really appreciate the support, man. Glad to see you in the chat. Thank you for the super chat, man. Appreciate it. Keep it up. Great show. Hey, dude, thank you so much for the super chat. Oh man, third one in a row, dude. Thank you, man. I would want to be in a relationship with a girl if her body count is over 10. I wouldn't.
He
Wait,
says I would.
I would
He
wanna
said he
be
would.
with a girl.
That means he would be.
I don't know if he misspoke there,
No.
but
I would
hey,
want to be in relationship with the girl if her body count is over 10, and I know it. Okay, so
That's fine.
he's cool with a woman who has more than 10.
Yes.
hey, thank you for the support.
Everybody
man.
has their
Appreciate it.
preferences. That's cool.
Thank you
Cool
for the
story, bro.
3 $10
Exactly.
super
Go
chats. Much appreciated.
Yeah, you the man.
Okay. Well, that's it for the super chats. We got through those fairly quickly, guys. We got a lot of super chats tonight. Really appreciate all the support. Is that it, Eric? Did you miss any, or did we get all of them, you think? That's it.
Any closing
Yeah.
thoughts from the ladies?
Last, final.
This was a delightful conversation. I really appreciate it, guys.
She's
Thank you
wearing
so
a cap.
much.
I don't know if that's cap.
I know.
That might be cap.
Likewise.
Are you
I had
just
a lot of fun.
Are you
I had
just
a
saying
lot
that
of
to be
fun.
This
nice?
is awesome.
What?
Are you just saying that to be nice?
What? The
That was a
conversation?
good conversation.
No, I'm
Okay.
genuinely like I mean, I'm not gonna pat myself on the back, but I'm very open-minded, so I really, really appreciate everything you guys had to say. Like literally, me and my friend Jess, like we had the craziest summer, and it kind of started like a couple weeks ago when we were asking like 20 questions this game with a group of like our guy friends, and then we were able to go and get their perspective on things, which we thought was like so like we didn't realize that, and then we started asking all of our other guy friends and trying to like implement that, and we saw kind of like the change it went and made when how we interacted with guys. And then and then just what came out of that too. So I genuinely thank you so much, guys.
No, yeah, I agree with Hannah. We've learned that learning guys' perspectives, you can learn a lot from that. So we got
Yeah.
a lot out of this podcast. And
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for coming.
I
by
got
the
the
way.
sense you did too, and respect. Like, it was fun. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
appreciate the viewpoints.
Yeah. By the way,
even
the-
though we disagreed, I enjoyed tussling.
I enjoyed tussling too.
Evil Matt, yeah, we do get Twitch chat in here, but just not a lot of people are commenting on Twitch. So, but yeah, I do.
My boy Schaefermeister, who dropped a lot of super chats, is asking for a bar on stream. Let me just say, what's up, my bar?
And then just last,
You my bar,
let me
bro.
let me get this final. Hey, Glevis, thank you, man, for that total of $40 super chat. Really appreciate it, man.
Dude,
Good
you
to see
raked
you.
in a lot of money tonight, bro.
I don't know.
I feel like that.
He doesn't want to say because we
Well.
should be getting paid now too.
Hey, you're available anytime.
Yeah,
We're available anytime.
Well,
We
wait,
can
Our
do-
time is very valuable.
You
No.
guys were a great panel.
yeah, you guys
For
were
real.
fantastic. You know, I know we had some heated moments, but we do really appreciate you guys sticking it out. Some other people would probably walked off. I know you were maybe thinking about it for a second there.
What
But
time is it?
No, I do appreciate you guys staying a bit late here. We did go pretty late on this one. Yeah, so thank you so much to the panel.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, men.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
me.
And,
Thanks for having us.
Are we missing? I feel like we're missing something.
I don't
Are we
think
missing
so.
something?
I don't think we are.
Subscribe.
What?
Any
Like and
outro you guys
subscribe.
have?
Oh yeah, by the way, everyone's Instagrams are in the description. Please give them a follow. Give them a follow. Yeah, shoot them. And as far as like the, never mind. Okay, never mind. Yeah, but thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will be live again. Chase, did you want to come in?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you guys for the super chats towards Brian and all of us. Thank you guys also for the comments. I don't know about you guys. I get so much entertainment out of reading people's comments.
It's so interesting. It's
This
so
was
interesting.
a very rewarding experience. Yeah.
Keep the comments coming.
Yeah.
We can't address all of your guys' comments, but they are so entertaining, and you guys should just keep it coming. So
Chats are awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. So we will be live again Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific. Again, I want to thank the panel again for coming. You guys were great. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yo, someone said Tristan and Chase
Oh,
next
shit.
time.
Oh, we got a big old Schaefer Meister.
wow.
With the $50.
Okay, he needs to come on the show. Get him on the show.
Dude, Jordan.
Bring him
bro,
on the show.
Jordan, you should come do this with us.
Come be on the show.
Come be on the
Come be
show,
on the
bro.
show, man.
Hey, you guys see his profile picture right
He's a
there?
good-looking dude.
I took
He's
that
handsome.
when we were in college.
Oh, wow.
Wait, you know him?
Yeah, that's one
No
of
way.
that's one of my oldest
Get him
friends.
on the
That's
show.
so cute.
Yeah, that's my boy
See,
right
I
there,
love
dude.
that.
He's
Aw.
also very handsome and based. So, ladies, my
Collab.
Yeah. Eddie Ed
based.
says, bring fiery Lauren back for sure. Which one's Lauren? Oh, this Lauren. Well, I thought he was talking about there's a fiery Lauren and the ice cold Lauren. I don't know.
Yeah, you have to come back.
Yeah, no, you were good. You were good. It's yes. Okay. She's not coming back, guys. She's not coming back. We made her too mad. Okay, cool. That's it, guys.
Jordan,
Thank you so much for watching.
come do this with us, bro. Come do this with us. That'd be so much fun. He's so based.
Let's
Yeah,
have
he's-
him
I
on.
got a guy that can come over here too.
I'd love to have him on.
We should do it, dude.
Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, guys. Yeah, thank you again. Thursday, 7 p.m. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Thank you for all the super chats. You guys were super supportive. Really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Thank you, guys.
I'll see you guys
Bye,
on